Hey, first time I've done what you said. As your interim chair, I'll call this meeting of the Beaufort County 2% A Tax Committee to order. And the first thing is to consider a motion to approve the agenda.
We're gonna call to order the meeting and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Oh, I didn't know we did that in committee. Great.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you and good morning. Now, public notice of this meeting has been published, posted, and distributed in accordance with SC FOIA. And now, will someone please make a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
I will now be asking for nominations for a chair.
All in favor of approving the agenda, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Go ahead.
Now I'm asking for nomination for a chair.
Vimal has said he would be happy to be chair.
Nominate Vimal.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any other nominations?
Okay, close nominations.
Close
Nominations are
nominations.
closed.
All in favor of Vimal as chair, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
I will now be asking for nominations for a vice chair.
Ken has conducted a very effective and thorough campaign to be vice chair, so I nominate him.
Alrighty, can I get a second?
Second.
Any other further discussion? All in favor of electing Ken as our vice chair, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well, thank y'all. Now, well, that was a little bit breezed through my thing. Our first,
No, then we'll take over
oh, alrighty,
What did you say?
the floor is yours.
the chairman nomination of the meeting.
Oh, okay. Now, we have an elected vice chair here. Should he serve that function?
I'm sorry, sir.
You're the elected vice chair. Should Ken take over, or should I continue as interim?
The newly elected vice chair.
Thank you. You're now in charge. Here's your gavel.
Oh, great.
Yes.
Okay, I may need a little help with procedure, but next step is, do we see the first
Yep.
presentation?
We're a little ahead of schedule, just to let you know.
So let's explain that they have to come back.
Okay.
Let me just.
There you go, I told you you'd pop up.
Due to a technicality in organizing this meeting, we're going to ask that you only listen to the applications today. If you have questions, you can ask the questions. But the discussion amongst the board members as far as what to recommend to council to award them, we would ask that you come back to a subsequent meeting and then have that discussion, make the motion for your recommendations, and then forward that recommendation. So it might be a good time to look at what is a convenient time, if you can do that, as far as coming back for that discussion, to discuss the applications.
Got it.
Would you like to do it, Mr. Vice Chair?
How is everyone's schedule looking for next week?
It could be as soon as later this week, or next week, or the week after.
And we will have to give the people not here time to watch the video.
Yes. And it's only Venmo, right? Only the chair's missing. You got 5 here.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yes, only the.
Only Venmo would have to watch the video for the application. So you need time for him to review the applications, the presentations here, and then he would lead the meeting there if he's in the meeting, and your discussions.
I can meet anytime Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday of next week.
When is Venmo going to be back?
I'll find out.
You shoot for same time next week, assuming it works. How does it look for you guys?
Say a week from now will work if a week from now, if it's agreeable.
If that's agreeable, we will check to see if we can still use the chambers and have the meeting right here, or we have to find an alternate location for you, but the staff will take care
Could
of
it be done
that.
virtually?
What day then?
Uh,
15th.
Individual members can attend virtually, but the meeting should not be virtual.
Gotcha.
You should be together to discuss it, make your motion.
When are we out of here?
when do renovations?
That's, they'll be back in the building sometime today. When we see Mr. Geesey, we'll ask him to see when's the last day we can have a meeting here.
They said
can text Sarah.
So
And if
the-
necessary, we might be able to move to the Arthur Horn Building, but we'll have to make the arrangements. We have to, there's different locations where we're having different meetings for the next 6 months.
So does next Tuesday at 8:30 work for everybody?
Works for me.
Mr. Green?
How long will that meeting be, you think about, a couple hours?
I would say that you're safe for it to be no more than 2 hours,
Okay.
because again, you've already heard the applications,
Right.
presentations, you're just discussing it, making
Okay.
recommendations.
Right.
Mhm.
Okay, VMO's gone until next Wednesday,
Okay.
but if we hold it Tuesday, he'll zoom in.
It's up to the board.
So you
Okay.
have to, would you, I would say, if we want him present a Wednesday morning maybe, instead of a Tuesday, so he can be present?
He doesn't come back till Wednesday.
Oh, are we waiting on him, or we can do without him?
It's a pleasure of the board.
He can actually
Zoom in?
participate, he'll just Zoom
He would be one of the members attending virtually.
Okay, well,
Still
still
works.
same time, yeah?
Yeah. Let's, Tuesday at 8:30,
Okay.
the 15th.
Tax day.
At 8:30, okay.
That's a 15.
You got that, Bryce? 8:30 Tuesday.
I'm texting him.
I wanna say that something about renovations start the 17th, but
I think it is.
he sent me an email about it.
Okay.
So I will make arrangements for that and get in contact with you all to remind you. I did give you a little slip of paper to fill out for me to do a phone number, a good email, just so I know for sure that I have everybody's information. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We are still running a little early, our first
Maybe they want
is
coffee.
supposed to be at 9.
If our folks were,
You want to recess the meeting for 8 minutes?
Sure. Is our first participant not here?
Nope, they are.
They are?
Okay, chamber is closed after the 9th, so we have to go somewhere else.
Okay.
Okay.
Sarah said she'll work with you.
Can we start early if all participants are ready to go, or should we wait?
It's a public meeting, so you should wait till the time that was posted for.
Okay.
the public meeting.
And
Yeah, it's best to wait.
recess until 9?
did we publish it at 9?
Recess till 9.
Since VMO's not here, will anyone be able to ask questions on the 3 that were his?
That would be
It's number
Let me
8,
see.
13, and 17.
Okay, so 8 is Beaufort Theater.
Because VMO's not gonna be here.
And number what? Henry Clay Foundation. I think I have the Henry Clay Foundation.
I'll be able to ask on Henry Clay.
Which one?
Henry Clay,
Well, this is application for Henry Clay. That's up to him.
There you go.
thank you.
And
All
then-
right, so Dick will take number 13.
I
How
think
about
that,
8 and 17?
I think 8 is
going live.
Okay.
You're good?
Okay. So as stated, the committee is here to listen and ask questions, and we'll do discussion next week and recommendations. So number one, we've got the Hilton Head Airport.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for having us, and thanks for putting me number one on the list this morning. My name is Steve Perry. I'm the Hilton Head Island Airport's Deputy Director. John Rimbold's Director, and so I'm in here for him today. The 2% state A-tax application that we submitted, we're requesting $30,000 for the 2% state A-tax. Hilton Head Island Airport, if you haven't already known, since 2018, the growth has been pretty enormous from 2018 until now. We've been able to bring in the three main carriers, United Airlines, American Airlines, and Delta into the airport. What we've seen over that time is an increased awareness for potential visitors to come in from other states into the island. One of the downfalls of Hilton Head Island Airport is it shares a name with a cross-state line airport. And not many people are aware that there is an airport right here in Hilton Head, right there in Hilton Head Island in Beaufort County, that these visitors can fly into and be on the island instead of having to battle traffic, spend a night in a hotel room in another state, rent a car in another state because they landed at an airport in another state. We want those economic funds to come into our state and in our county. At Hilton Head Island Airport, we are directed by regulations of the FAA. So the FAA limits our ability to fund advertising and marketing. Their focus is solely on safety projects, if I could say it that way, at the airport. So maintenance of the taxiways, maintenance of the runways, maintenance of the lighting facilities for air traffic to get into. That is their main focus. Therefore, their focus potentially isn't marketing. However, the airlines that we have coming into the airport, marketing, advertising is a huge focus. That's how they determine the need to send more air traffic into Hilton Head. So what we've done is we try to take advantage of the multiple different A-tax or H-tax funds that are available out there to increase our programs. This $30,000, it ties in with a $300,000 program that we have out there, and it's a collaboratory effort with the town of Hilton Head Island A-tax funding requests that we have out there. So for a $300,000 program, what's that going to give us? We collaborate extremely close with the VCB in hopes to continue to work the media relations, promote directly targeted potential visitors from out of the state. We want to continue to collaboratively advertise with tourism partners within the VCB. They're our driver to help us focus where these funds are going to go to. Of note, the most popular states that are outbound are trying to come in based off of clicks, advertisement: Dallas, Chicago, Atlanta, DC, Boston, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indianapolis. So those are visitors that are coming into Hilton Head Island. The most visitors, they're coming from all over the place, but those are the ones that are coming into Hilton Head Island. I will note that Hilton Head Island Airport, since 2016, the economic impact to our county and our community has grown from around $160 million to well over $460 million in that amount of time. So I think it's extremely important that we continue this collaborative effort using these funds to bring in tourism to continue to drive our economic impact in the town, in the county, and at the airport. And so with that, I'm here and available for questions.
Thank you. The process we follow is each person is assigned a series of applications, and you happen to be one that I was happy to read. Couple questions. You mentioned it's part of a $300,000 program. I see in your application you applied to to the town of Hilton Head for $150,000 of A-tax dollars, but you don't know how much you're going to be receiving there. assuming you receive that all, where's the other 150,000 coming from?
Well, we actually, since this application came out, we did received 150,000 in 2024 from the town of Hilton Head Island. We have subsequently spent that, all of those funds. In 2025, we received the second $150,000 for that $300,000 program. To date, we've spent roughly $130,000 out of that. So we have some funds left, but in order to meet our criteria, we're requesting an extra $30,000 to supplement those programs.
Okay, thanks. And if I'm right, the Hilton Head Airport is a county-owned but enterprise fund organization.
Yes, sir.
And so, I think, I'm asking, I don't know, but I think you earn funds from sale of fuel and from rental of hangars.
We do. Our funding revenues generate from fuel sales to commercial aircraft as well as GA aircraft, I would say, is one of the number one drivers of revenue.
Those of us who don't know what GA aircraft is.
General aviation aircraft. So we have commercial that flies in on the three main carriers. We also have a robust general aviation community, we call it on the other side of the airport, that fly in business leaders, business opportunity leaders, people flying into Hilton Head because that's where their second home is. So we have a robust fleet of general aviation.
And it's called the other side of the airport because it's on private property, is that?
It's on airport property, but we reserve one side of the airport for commercial traffic, and the opposite side of the runway that's the general aviation traffic side. That's how our flow of the airport works.
Okay. And how about concessions inside the airport?
We have a concessions inside the airport. We have a very small terminal. I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but we're in the middle of expanding the size of our terminal to update it, bring it up to standards, jet bridges, things like that, so people don't have to walk outside and we have more room. Currently, we have a small concessionaire that is posted inside the small terminal, and as we expand, when we open up the new side, that will continue on that side. Taxi service, rental car service, concessions within the terminal that we have right now.
And what do you attribute the significant growth that's occurred? It sounds like it's occurred since COVID happened, but maybe that's coincidental.
You're correct, sir. COVID in South Carolina and in Hilton Head was one of the few destination locations that people could actually get to in COVID, as well as airlines trimmed down how many flights they were flying. So there was an abundance amount of pilots that were like, what can we get in? Where can we fly to? Hilton Head was open, along with Martha Vineyard, Key West, areas like that. And people were flying in, and these pilots were flying airplanes in. So we had an increase in passengers that came in during COVID. And then when COVID kind of trailed off, those pilots went back to these larger international flights, and our numbers kind of they're still above, but they dropped back down to more of a normal level. So we had a huge increase during COVID. And then after that, we slimmed back down to a little bit higher than normal rate post-COVID. But it's continuing to increase each year.
Okay, and you attribute it to this marketing campaign, or what other factors?
I do contribute it to the marketing campaign. However, in 2018, the airport extended the runway, and I'm getting into more aircraft-specific things. Airlines, in their smallest commercial jets that they can fly, our runway was too short to support that. In 2018, a project that extended the runway to the appropriate length that they could land there opened their eyes and say, we have a market in Hilton Head. We can now land the smallest of our commercial aircraft in Hilton Head. So all three airlines came in. We already had American, but the other two came in and they were trying to get a piece of that pie. And then customers started realizing then we can get into Hilton Head instead of going to other airports and driving into Hilton Head. So that boosted the opportunity to start marketing, and the airlines really appreciated us start marketing these venues so people can fly in to Hilton Head. And that has just seen an expansive growth from that point in time until now. And we don't see it stopping, especially with our renovation of the terminal and better accommodations. The airport's just going to continue to grow.
And about how long is, you said the appropriate, is there a number that those of us who don't know what appropriate is means? Is it 3,000 feet or 5,000 or something?
Well, it's all based on the size of aircraft that somebody's
how
trying
long
to
is
get
the
in.
runway?
5,000 feet right now.
Thank you. and you may have told us this a minute ago, and I may have missed it, but are you guys in the hangar rental business?
We are.
How's that expanded since you added the runway lane?
Well, on the general aviation side, that's where we rent the hangars. And
Sure.
so it's more recreational flyers. I will say during COVID, there was a lot of people sitting around going, what do I do with my time?
Mhm.
And an enormous amount, a percentage in the United States decided that they wanted to learn how to be pilots.
Mhm.
And so they started learning to fly. And then they decided that they wanted to buy an airplane. Then our waiting list, and then we run 2 airports, both airports we have, but at Hilton Head specifically, the wait list pre-COVID, 10, 15 people, that has grown to mid-60s to 70 people because there's not enough hangars to support everybody who owns an airplane that wants to park, therefore they park on the ramp. We generate fees from them parking on the ramp, but we also generate fees from them renting hangar space from us.
And do you have space to build more hangars?
We do, but there's an funding to build those. Those are incredibly expensive. That's the downfall of COVID. Steel went up, so everything doubled and tripled in price.
I feel your pain. I understand. That's all I have, if someone else has got questions.
Yeah, this is interesting. Do you have any information on, when visitors come in, how many of them stay in Hilton Head or Bluffton versus travel out to other parts of the county or area?
Yes, sir. I think that's a great question. We don't get information from the hotels on how many extra nights per se somebody would stay. But we can go back, and the data that we receive shows that the percentages of people that, for example, are clicking page views year over year is right around 308% from just 2 years ago. So in 2 years' time, this money has offered somebody to click a page 308% increase over that year. Referrals has surged to 584% year over year. Google accounted for 80% of the total page views. I'm not sure any other engines that is used to determine those numbers. And then social channels that we pay into, we've seen a 61% increase in page views and 694% increase in engaged sessions year over year.
No, that's great. Yeah, just, it maybe feedback for your team for, just to even have an even better presentation next time, just to understand how this, how the advertising campaign, puts heads in beds, but
Yes, sir.
specifically off island, right? Or the northern part of the county, which is where a lion's share of this particular fund
Yep.
is generated from. So we're always really interested in that.
Absolutely. And we rely heavily on the VCB, who we're partnering with these funds with to gather the information for you, but I'll take that back.
They may have it. They may have that.
Yeah, they'll have that.
Okay. No other questions for me?
Yeah, and piggybacking what Ken just asked you, when they fly in to the airport, are they being picked up by relative, are they staying on Hilton Head, are they coming to Beaufort to stay here in the facilities?
Yes, ma'am, that's a great question, and what we're seeing, there's a portion of residents who are utilizing the airport to fly out to conduct business and to fly back in, or they're flying from their local airport to visit somewhere else. But the majority of our tourism that comes in, they're coming in to vacation at Hilton Head. Most of the people, they've rented a car from the airport, which we see proceeds from that, and they're picking up their car at the airport. Or they chose not to rent a car and they're using the taxi services that are there at the airport to get to their hotel or their whatever accommodations that they have on the island. So the transportation piece, we see mostly from tourism that comes in to our airport. They don't have to rent a car and travel. They don't have to fight the traffic to get into Hilton Head. They're right there, and within minutes, they're at their hotel and they're ready to go enjoy their stay. And those are the comments that we see from customers that come in, that they really enjoy that piece.
And do you have specific data to support what you just said?
We do, in collaboration with the VCB, we have those data.
Okay.
We do know that the people that travel in to Hilton Head versus another airport, they typically would spend an extra night at the other airport and then get up the next day and come to Hilton Head. Or they're renting cars from that other airport in another state and coming to Hilton Head. So for, when you total up the amount of customers that are coming to Hilton Head, that one night adds up when you're adding all those people up. To get, that we're losing from Hilton Head in Beaufort County, that another state is gaining. So to try to trigger people to come straight into Hilton Head, that increases a one-night rental car services, things like that.
Thank you, that's all the questions I have.
On that same point that you were just making, how long has it been since you started advertising that Hilton Head has its own airport where they don't have to go to the other airport?
I've been here for 5 years in this role, and I know we've been advertising for those 5 years. Maybe not with the amount of funds available the first year to get us to where we're at and increasing that advertising, those marketing campaigns. But since 2018, that was before I got here, when that runway got extended and those airlines came in, that really started the drive to advertise and get people focused on coming to Hilton Head instead of landing somewhere else and then driving to Hilton Head.
And do you know that percentage since 2018?
I don't off the hand, but I absolutely could find out for you.
That's good. And I don't have anything else.
Yes, sir. Ma'am, you good? That's
Okay,
it, ma'am.
well, thank you for the presentation. We'll,
Okay.
we'll have our discussion next week.
Absolutely.
Update
Thank you for
shortly
your
after.
time.
Thank you very much. Okay, next, I think we have two Friends of the Spanish Mouse Trail.
If y'all don't mind, I'm gonna set a timer so we kind of stay on a little bit of a schedule.
Okay.
And then
You bet.
just a reminder that you all should have a good idea of what they're talking about, so if we just direct them into questions rather
Okay.
than long
Yes.
discussion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know a lot of the people have presented already in the past, but yeah, as typical, is yeah, not to rehash the presentation, but to go through a quick summary, and then we can just dive right into questions.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm Dean Moss. I'm the Executive Director of the Friends of the Spanish Moss Trail. We're here to ask you for a couple of things. First, and I'll talk about the Kids in Parks, South Carolina first. It's a proposal that came into us from folks in Columbia that are doing it on the major trail up there. And it is driven by an organization that was essentially out of North Carolina and is now starting to pop up lots of places across the country. What it does is it's a program where we provide an introductory panel with a bunch of information and little things on it that kids can use, and a walk of about a mile. And in this case, our proposal is to start it here in Beaufort at the end of Depot Road, at our trailhead there at the end of Depot Road, and walk north up toward the new Publix shopping, or the shopping center where Publix is up toward 170. It's essentially this kind of three parts to it. Basically, they will put on and we will assist with, they will install the signage, they will provide the initial documents we will use along the trail, they will provide help with us with advertising, and we will then use monies to keep stocking up those documents, because kids will take them and do things, so we need to replace those. It's going to take some time to put this together, and so we have some money in for our management professional, which is Sissy Perryman, who is here with me. And then we have basically for our digital platform, which we will use as advertising and basically pushing this program out as we go forward. The experience in Columbia that we're aware of is that it has been positive, that brings people in, and it is really focused, in this case, on both the tourism demand, but also on folks in the community and families in the community that will use it. So it's we are asking you for basically $20,000, which is documented there in our application. So maybe I'll just stop there and ask for questions on that one.
Sure, thank
Fairly
you.
straightforward.
So does, the $20,000, it's primarily for advertising?
Yeah,
To contribute to the marketing fund?
Basically, about $4,000 of it basically is to install the things we need to install, buy the materials we need to support what we're doing. $10,000 of it will basically cover all the administrative costs of this. We'll be working with the city a little bit on this as well. And then the digital program, visitor public awareness, is about $5,500. That'll be aimed principally at advertising on our programs and on our digital media that we have out there that we use.
And does the CV, do you lean on the CV for support for that? Does the CV manage the marketing campaign or their firm?
On this particular thing, we would market this.
You would do
We
it.
would use this. We've used the CVB, and we've received funds from you for that for a number of years to work with them, and we're continuing to work with them. They still have money that you gave us last year, I believe, for that they're still spending. We're not asking for any of that this year.
So can you just connect the dots on how that, this enhancement, it would obviously have a certain level of marketing, but will generate more visitors?
Well,
and ultimately people in hotels?
Yeah, I'll start with the fact that in Beaufort County, northern Beaufort County, the Spanish Moss Trail is the second most visited place in the county compared to Hunting Island. So we're bringing people in constantly, coming in to come and visit on this trail. This adds another dimension to their visit, essentially what it is. It's an attraction that they will be able, families that come with children, this will be a place for them to go. Is it going to be the driver that brings thousands of people into northern Beaufort County? Probably not. But it is an attraction for them, and it adds to the package that we are marketing or that the CVB is marketing. So that's the best way I can express that.
I got a couple. Thank you for being here. If I understand the Kids in Parks program, it was funded or is funded by a grant from Blue Cross Blue Shield. And they met and they're looking at doing something similar in a number of parks across the county. The meeting was at Burton Wells and there was a discussion about doing some things there. My understanding of the objectives of that particular program is to get the kids off their screens and get them physically active and so forth.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure how that fits in with tourism, but any mechanism to measure the result on people staying and eating in restaurants would be very helpful for us in evaluating this and explaining to other people why funding decisions are made like they are. Will the CVB be helping you measure who's doing what and how this is creating traffic, or how do you propose to measure success in that way?
I would expect that we certainly will work with the CVB to do that. How you actually make those measurements in terms of a family's here for 3 or 4 days and they wander around town and they go down to the trail and use that for a couple hours during the day and then they go have dinner. I'm not quite sure how we attribute their presence to, but we're certainly interested in supporting this in one way. We'll work with the CVB to see if we can figure out a way to do that. I know that what we will know is that there will be a certain number of brochures there or items for these kids to take, and to the extent they are being chewed through and taken, that will tell us the usage of the feature. So we'll be able to judge how many people are using it and how popular it is through that.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Do you have any additional funding?
Additional funding, yeah, we spend our own money. We raise our own money, and
Okay.
and when I get to the next one, it'll give you a demonstration of how
Okay.
how our proportion of those funding, where that comes from.
Thank you so much. Mhm.
Any other questions? Okay.
Okay, the next one is the promotion of the trail as an asset. And we have been doing that ourselves. We have websites, we have features that go out a lot. We are featured in magazines all over the state. In your packet, there's and one of the pages is basically This right here is essentially rail trails across the southeast, and we're featured on the cover of that. We're one of the most popular trails in the southeast, and certainly one of the two most popular trails in South Carolina, along with the Greenville Swamp Rabbit Trail. And if you look at the financial, the issue of the finances, if you go to the last page of that document, you'll see basically that we dedicate about $60,000 a year to advertising and promoting the trail, of which about $40,000 plus comes out of our fundraising process from our donors and other users. And we're asking you, in this case, for $20,000 to assist with that. Basically, excuse me, we also basically have on our sheet some information on the kinds of things that we get. We've got something like 23 to 24,000 page views on our application. We have roughly 13,000 people have our app downloaded on their computer, and we get about 1,000 new users every year. This last year, about 1,000 new users. And about 30% of those live beyond a 50-mile radius from Beaufort, based upon what we can understand. 364 cities across the country and 22 countries outside the United States. So we're going to basically go after travel and media outlets. We've been doing that, but we want to do more of it. We're going to provide written and visual content for them to place articles. And we want them to continue to update our mobile app. As you may know, we will probably start construction on the Spanish Moss Trail into Port Royal, across Ribaut Road into Port Royal, sometime I'm suggesting in June. The request for bids have gone out as of yesterday to contractors. That project will be done this summer. The demand in Port Royal for this trail leading into Port Royal is enormously high. People really want to do that. We're also now working on an expansion of the trail to the north, up toward the Whale Branch River. So there's a lot of interest and a lot of energy that is being put into this. We've been doing it now, I guess, for about 10 years, and that every year the trail just gets more popular and more popular and more popular. There's lots of things going on it. If you go down and walk on the trail, particularly near Hermitage Road, you'll see the trees that are planted there. We've got folks that want trees out there in recognition of their families or recognition of their friends or loved ones. So it's a very popular place. We're getting requests to use it for events all the time. So promoting it is what we want to do, and we want to promote it outside of Beaufort. And I think that as a general statement, it's very positive, and anything you can do to assist us with that promotional effort would be appreciated.
The stats on kind of the growth of that of the usage over the last few years, any information on that?
We haven't plotted that recently, but it increases, I would say, slowly every year. 1,000, let's just say 1,000 increases in people tying on to our website every year.
It'd be good, just again, kind of beefing up relevant stats. That would be a great one, because you've been advertising for a while now, right? So it would be great to be able to say over the last 3 years, it's grown this much, and you've got the stat on how many from outside 50 miles. So then that would indicate more, even the visitors growing that at least visit the trail are growing even more. So
we've been asking the county. We had counters out there for a while, counting the number of people using the trail. One of those was damaged, and the county took them down. We're discussing with the county to get those back up so we can see the increase in usage actually measured with the number of counters. The technology is there to do that, and the county has the equipment to do it. So,
okay. I don't have any other questions. Anyone?
No questions?
No? All right. Well, thanks for all.
thank you so
and
much.
thanks for
We
being
appreciate it
here.
very much.
Okay. Do we have the Art Center of Coastal Carolina here yet? A little early. 3 minutes ahead of schedule here.
Yes. Good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see familiar faces. My name is Jan Smith, and I'm the Senior Director of Development at the Arts Center, and happy to be here with you today. We're requesting $40,000 to help fill our marketing expenses gap. The tourism budget for the marketing this year is $283,000. So we're feeling that the $40,000 is going to be very helpful, because every penny counts, all dollars matter. A couple things you don't know from, or may not know from reading that application you received, is that we're starting our 30th anniversary this next September. It's quite a feat. We have a 29-year-old building because we started our art center not in the current building. So there's a lot to do with a 29-year building. So a lot of unexpected happenings, as you know, for maintenance. We own the building. We're a cultural hub in our region. We're the largest producing arts theater, performing and visual arts, and producing is a big deal because we're not a tour company. We don't have a tour come in from Broadway or with a well-built set and cast and put it out on their stage. We build everything. We build costumes. We build it all. So that's, a lot of people don't know that. When we give tours, people say, so how long is your company here, your tour company? Well, we start from scratch, 18 months out, planning a season. We're in our 29th season. We're worldwide in our marketing efforts. You did receive a heat map, and we're very proud of that. So hopefully you saw the impact we have all over the United States as well as worldwide. And we market worldwide. And this year we're forecasting 65,000 people through all of our 166 programs that are going to be seen. 50-plus miles, we do track by zip code. 50-plus miles will have 29% of our constituent base will be from 50-plus miles this year. We are a significant impact generator for the county. $13 million is estimated that goes back into our county each year from just those at 50 miles plus. And how we know that is because we do that calculator. One thing we've been seeing this year that's very interesting to know that it's relevant this year that we're asking and requesting for investment by the state ed tax is because we get a report, a hotel report from the Chamber of Commerce, and it's telling us something interesting. It's actually telling us we're down 14% on island hotel use, but we're still at the same patronage as we've had.
Mm-hmm.
So we're still meeting our budget. So what's that tell us? That's why the bridge is crazy to get on and off every day.
Mm-hmm.
Because people are coming and staying here. They're staying out in Bluffton at those nice new hotels.
Mhm.
So, and I wouldn't blame them because they're new and they're beautiful and they're probably less. So it really is relevant this year that we can say we don't have the conclusive evidence to track the actual hotels, but we can say logically that we are impacting more of the state hospitality tax. We are eligible for over $700,000 a year in programming and marketing a tax. We only ask for Hilton Head because of the huge impact there, and then the state. We don't ask for Bluffton, we don't ask for Beaufort. This year, asking for a small amount at the state aid tax to help us meet that gap of our tourism marketing, because our A-tax for Hilton Head is allowing us $212,000 this year to cover that 50 miles plus marketing. And we do so much with that. We, as an example of what your $40,000 would cover, we have our brochures. We print 130,000 and they go to all that worldwide, all those zip codes we have. We have rack cards, we have radio, broadcast. Charleston is a big venue for us, so we know they come for a weekend, they come for a night and see a show. Because we're Broadway caliber, we bring in cast from New York City and locally. So other things your money would invest in is digital marketing, radio, airport LED screens that are continually looping us. Welcome centers all the way up I-95, all the way down through Florida and up through North Carolina have our rack cards and our brochures. So it is a worthy investment. $40,000 seems nominal for our budget, but it all matters. Again, every penny matters, and we piecemeal it. And that's my job, to find the contribution income to fill in. The earned income this year is 65%, and our contribution income and grants is 35%. So it matters. This is a tough year for arts and culture. We don't know what to expect, but we're plowing ahead. So we hope we can depend on you this year. That's all I had, and I'm willing to take questions.
Well, good morning, and thank you for coming today. I enjoyed reading your application. You operate 360 days a year.
Yes.
And what is your biggest time of year for influx of visitors coming to the events? It depends, okay?
We do watch for snowbirds, we watch for the spring breakers, and we plan our shows to attract those types. And so I would say from probably before Christmas time, and then through spring break would be our ideal time of the most influx of tourism. But we also have summer, so it's really hard to say, because we plan our longest running show in the summer. This year it's going to be Down a Summer Musical, and it's going to run for 12 weeks, so we look at that as also a family-friendly, so that we can attract our tourism. So really, I'm sorry I'm not the marketing person, and that person would have it on the tip of their tongue, but just knowing how we run the shows, I think that the bulk would be in the winter, but then the summer does have a good number as well.
I like that you had your hotel statistics, because we have accommodation, but you said your ticket sales is based on your events, your activities you're putting on.
We have a large number purchased. Well, we have Audience View is our ticket sales. All of our tickets are sold through that, whether they're online sales or people call in and they have their own constituent records. So we're easily able to track and then output the data that we give to put into our ATAX. So it's very solid and reliable. And we've been doing that for many, many, many years. And so we have a good trend we can follow. Last year it was 28% of our 50-plus mile radius, and this year's 29. And we have no reason to doubt it isn't climbing. We are reaching farther and farther, and people love coming to Hilton Head. So everybody else in Hilton Head and in Beaufort County is doing their thing, keeping everything beautiful and keeping all the activities going. Things are working together, collaborating, so people can come to the Art Center and then go to a festival. You know, so much to do.
And I like the fact you open it to schools, to students too. I love that fact. So
Yes.
Thank you. No more questions.
And we have a person here that goes into the schools,
Yeah.
so thank you for that.
Okay.
Thank you for being here. I'll be quick.
You're welcome.
In the CVB measurement of hotel occupancy, did they take into account the Airbnb and short-term rental market in that? Because there's been a huge growth in the number of available units.
I don't believe they have in this. I haven't dissected it, how they got, but since 2022 to 2025, it's been a stark trend downward
Hotel
on
occupancy.
Hilton Head
Hotel
hotels.
occupancy.
Yes,
Yeah.
and this is called a hotel report. I just don't know. I can't answer if it's including Airbnbs at this point.
Okay, thank you,
So that's a very good question.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? So I'll just make a comment. Again, thank you for being here. And something to maybe pass along to the marketing team, a couple of stats that would be helpful for the future is, for an organization like yours, usually the marketing budget's gonna be split between marketing to create awareness downstream, so people that are already here, right? All the marketing you do when people are trying to figure out what to do. And then upstream, right, to try to help attract people here, which sounds, you reference both, but it'd be great to kind of just a high-level stat on a general percentage of that mix. Right,
Okay.
because that's interesting to us, because we're trying to get more visitors in, right, or the same visitors more often. So that type of marketing is really interesting to know where the allocation is.
Oh, that's a very good point.
And then of those people that come, how many are staying on the island, which you referenced a bit of, but we're, again, the more heads and beds and, in other places beyond just on Hilton Head is super interesting to this particular group, so just for future reference.
Yes, very good point. And if I'd done my due diligence, I probably could have found a report in Bluffton as well. I just don't, it wasn't as readily available.
No
But I thought it was
problem.
very
Just
interesting.
Just giving
Very,
tips.
very good.
But
Thank you.
very much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. The Beaufort Area Hospitality Association's up next.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Do you feel the energy?
Absolutely.
The air show energy? That's what I'm talking about. I'm not here to present on the air show, but I feel it. I love when those planes come to town every 2 years. My name is Ashley Hauk. I'm the president and CEO of the Beaufort Area Hospitality Association. Our association is made up of lodging, restaurants, attractions, and all the businesses in between that are associated with hospitality and tourism. So the very reason we are here, the partners that pay into this fund and collect that tax is why we're here. We want to make sure that there's a great return on investment whenever those dollars come back. Great partners of ours as well is the Convention and Visitors Bureau. We align with them and we advocate for them. We understand that our economy here is a tourism economy. So we need that $1 spent to bring back 11. I'd love to get that number up higher. And one of those areas that we focus on in aligning with the Convention and Visitors Bureau is to look at those times where there's a lull. So whenever January is slower, our businesses aren't as thriving, our hotels aren't as busy. So I went to Rob Wells. I said, give me some of those times. Let's look at what we can do to increase our market. And that was the New Year's Eve fireworks show. So we see a dip mid-December, it goes clear down, and then about March it starts to come up, depending especially on weather. We do the Oyster Festival, that was our first knock at it, and we bring about 11 days of activity mid-January. So we wanted to focus on that mid-Christmas to the January 1st. So we brought New Year's Eve fireworks. We did that 2 years ago, so 23 was our, 23, 24, 25, 22, sorry. It's weird. But anyways, we kicked off with that, and we just did the fireworks. Last year, we put an aerial show with it. And when we marketed it, we took our partners' events that they were doing. So the Polar Plunge event that happens in Port Royal, the Pelican Pledge, that's a huge event. I know a lot of frippers go to that. And so we basically put all of this into a marketing strategy. We hand it over to the CVB so that they can go after the winter break students and a lot of that winter leisure travel. And then we took other various elements such as food tourism. We put in some of our restaurants and just really packaged it. Come to Beaufort, get out of the mountains, come see us. Even though it's maybe 67, we'll take that around that time. Come and have a coastal New Year's Eve. And our partners love that. A lot of our hoteliers and lodging facilities, they want that. They want to be able to take all of that in and then put that out to any of their consumers. So we're building upon this. We want to keep building those layers, like I said, of activities and having micro events that produce. We understand that, heads and beds is where it's at, and we wouldn't be standing here if it wasn't for that. So that's it in a nutshell. I do have some statistics here. I will say that prior to this, we have seen in the last 2 years 245% increase I think that Rob has ran those numbers again, and it's roughly, 245% increase. So when we didn't have it, there wasn't a lot of visitation. He's broken down the markets. We've had Greenville, Spartan, Asheville, Anderson, Columbia, Charlotte, Augusta, Atlanta. So we're looking at a drive market. You know, a lot of people aren't just coming, from a little bit more of those longer destinations. They're coming from a drive market. So that's where we'll focus that on. He has this data. It's critical to us to continue to increase those numbers to our market. So, any questions?
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I like your energy. What stands out a little bit is that 274.
274.
Yeah.
Right backwards.
How was that calculated?
So Rob Wells at the Convention and Visitors Bureau, he does geo-analysis, so he does ping data. So he has looked at the year over year prior from, I believe he pulled up 21 and 22. So there was nothing here at that time. Then he pulled when we had the fireworks in 23 and 24, and it was an increase by 274%. Actually, the first year was, and then this year was 144.6%. And I can give you all these if you'd like to have those.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maybe
so ping data.
At times, it'd be good to get more, like, what the absolute numbers are on that, because that could be, if it's a small starting number, right, then.
Yeah,
then
yeah,
the financial impact of 274 is not necessarily big,
yeah.
but obviously, it's great to be trying to drive.
We had
more visitors
4.6
into
thousand visitors. That's the concrete number, 4.6 thousand during that time.
Oh, got it.
So if that's a little, if that helps a little
Yeah, so
bit.
it's well less than half of that before, so it's
Yes.
thousands more.
Yes.
Perfect.
Good question. Thank you for being here. I like your energy as well, but humor me. I think I know what ping data is, but I'd like to
Yes.
make sure I know the same answer you'd like me to have. Would you describe
Yes.
that to us?
So our cell phones have these fun little things, they're called applications, apps, and a lot of that data is sent out and purchased by marketing organizations. So whenever you maybe go to Bluffton or Hilton Head and you open up one of those apps, that sends a ping to that data source. And it says, we have a visitor. So maybe I visit back to my hometown in West Virginia and they're trying to track data there. I open up. Absolutely. We brought in an aerial group last year, and they're a local aerial group that's trying to get their feet off the ground here. They're working with sports tourism. They are bringing a lot of activity to the area, so we brought them in. I would love to have maybe more shows. The Gullah, doing a show maybe midday. Any type of activity, boat tours, I know weather permitting and those types of things, but I would love to have a full maybe 3-4 days, if not get into a week of activity that's, New Year's Eve in northern Beaufort County. Let's talk, okay. I love it.
Anything else? Well, great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all so much, and thank you for serving on this board. I know y'all are very busy. Thank you.
Okay, the Port Royal Sound Foundation.
Mr. Chairman, my wife is on the board of this organization, so I have to recuse myself.
Okay, thank you.
All right, good morning. How are you guys?
Good
Doing
morning.
great, thank you.
Good. My name is Kat Armstrong. I am the Special Projects Coordinator and a naturalist at the foundation. We also have Jody Hayward, our Executive Director. I've met most of you guys, and I'm happy to be here again today. I won't restate our whole application for you. I know you guys have read it, but I do want to point out a few key things about what we're asking for in this application. So hopefully you guys have visited us before. I know a lot of you have, and you know that one of the best things about the Port Royal Sound Foundation is our location. We are right on the water, which is the core of everything that we do, is teaching people about this local environment. And in this ask, we're asking for funds to help support some dock renovations that are necessary to this facility right on the water. And the reason we're doing that is because we really pride ourselves on connecting people to the local environment, but not just through education. We want it to be something really tangible for people when they visit this area, that they're not just learning about these waterways and this environment, they really experience it and feel it, because we believe that's really when people make a connection to why this area is so unique and exciting for people to come visit. We know that a lot of tourists that come to this area come for the environment, whether they want the seafood that we have, recreation, fishing, just enjoying time on the beach. The environment is really the core of what we do, and having a way for people to really connect with that right at our location is really important. So with what we do, we reach about 28,000 people every year visiting our center and through our programs. These are people we want to be able to experience the water on our docks. We do some analysis of how many people visiting the Maritime Center come from outside 50 miles, and consistently for the last 5 years or so, that's been at 49% or above with the people that sign in. So that's something we're really proud of, that people are visiting us sort of as a welcome center to this area to really learn about the local environment and the Port Royal Sound. We've also recently opened up a new outdoor educational pavilion, which is really important for our programs. But when we're not using it, we also rent it out. We've gotten a lot of amazing event rentals through there who also utilize our dock space. So we want people, when they're visiting the center or using it for rentals, to have access to these docks. Make sure they're really safe and comfortable for people. You guys might know we celebrated our 10-year anniversary last November. The docks are much older than that. Our Maritime Center floating dock was constructed in 1985, and our secondary pavilion dock was constructed in 2010. So it's just time for some of those necessary repairs to make sure those docks are really good for people to be on. And I just want to touch on, this isn't a marketing ask, but it really complements our marketing, because a lot of what we do in our marketing is teach people about what exhibits we have. We want people to be able to connect our exhibits to the waterways that we have. And we're really trying to expand our marketing beyond just what we have to what this area offers. So a lot of the marketing that we're doing right now and new campaigns we're working on is really expansive about what this area has to offer rather than just what we have. And this will really support that, help people connect again to the water and connect it to everything that they want to see beyond just the Maritime Center when they come to visit. Any questions?
Well, we really appreciate your being here, and seeing that you do put safety first is kind of one of the things.
Yes, sir.
But you really have a good program for a family atmosphere. Love that.
Thank you.
Is there a way to calculate how the Maritime Center draws people specifically to you all, not just something to do while we're here?
Yeah. So we also work with the CVB, which the last presentation mentioned. We work with them to help really target our marketing and know where we're reaching with our marketing. We're also able to see from a lot of what we do when people are taken from our marketing to our website. So that shows us that the reach we're having through social media, through Google advertising, brings people to this area to look at what we have. Now on our website, we really try to promote the local environment. We have a link to the Beaufort CVB and the Bluffton Hilton Head Chamber so that they know they can go to our website and really get a chance to click and look at those other things in this area. So we know that people are being drawn from our marketing to our website, hopefully turning that into a trip here.
Kristen,
Mm-hmm.
in listening to you, I missed something. Are you asking for renovation money instead of accommodation money? Because we do accommodation and not renovations, sort of. Am I right in that hearing?
Yes, so what
Okay.
we're asking for is funds to help
Okay.
repair our docks,
Okay.
which would help support bringing visitors here to experience everything the Maritime Center has to offer.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And just a comment, especially from the accident that happened on Sapelo Island, the dock is very important. Make sure that safety is in place.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. The Beaufort History Museum.
Good morning. Good morning. My name's John Worley. I'm the president of the Beaufort History Museum. I appreciate your attention to this. It's one thing that occurs to me right off the bat is that we can eliminate $2,500 of the request for banners that celebrated Lafayette's 200th anniversary of Lafayette's visit to Beaufort, since that ship has sailed a couple of weeks ago. And although we'd still like to have the banners to display in the museum, I don't believe it has a priority now that justifies requesting funds from you. The bulk of our proposal obviously deals with an ad agency in Greenville. I did some research on ad agencies. I can't say I have long experience with this organization, but based on my conversations with them, they get the concept. They understand what we need, and I am told that this is the level of funding that it would take to accomplish what we're trying to do, which is draw at least a 10% increase in visitors to the museum. We traditionally have about 5,000 visitors to the museum. Obviously, many of those are from out of town. But this is specifically to draw people to Beaufort, and we think we have a good product to sell here in the next 12 months with the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. We sought a grant from the state organization that's coordinating the efforts in the 250th anniversary. We were successful in getting a maximum grant of $125,000. With that, we had a specially designed exhibit, an immersive theater, which is going into the some space at the museum, which is currently being renovated. And we think this is going to have a lot of sex appeal and be a different draw than what a lot of other people are able to offer. The idea of revisiting the film efforts that have been made here in Beaufort. We had an exhibit on this years ago, but it's timely to have it again. The interest in movies and movie stars and films never seems to fade, and so we think that's got a little sex appeal to it also. So I included some photos, I think, of the stairwell we're interested in. That needs to be spiffed up if we're going to have a parade of visitors through there, which is what we anticipate having. I'm happy to take any questions you have.
Okay, again, thank you first for helping to preserve the history. You know, people ask, and we don't always have the funding to give everybody exactly what they want.
What? There's a possibility? I'm not going to get everything I want?
So looking at your list, you already took the $2,500 off. I assume your marketing, the $60,000 would possibly be your biggest priority at this point in time.
Yeah, and I think based on what we're hearing from the ad people, I don't think it would make much sense to fund it at less than that. You know, half a loaf in this situation in terms of a marketing budget isn't going to be of much help. The only other item I can see that would be helpful would be the money for the stairwell, which we would use anyway. We would need anyway, whether we had the marketing effort or not. But I think not having the marketing effort is a missed opportunity for Beaufort. I really do feel that way.
So if you don't get all of the $60,000 from ATAX funding, what other sources do you have?
Well, we've got a couple of fundraisers on the horizon. It's too early to tell what the yield from that will be, but it will be something. One of them will be a repeat of the auction that we had last year. We've rescheduled that for the fall because of everything that was going on this spring. So we have a couple of other possibilities, but this would be one of those, you would have to commit to those funds now and lock in the agency now. They want to start now. And so the fact that you might have some fundraising efforts of varying success later down the road isn't going to be too much help with this.
With deciding heads and beds, how do you come up with your numbers of people that actually come to visit the museum and stay in Beaufort?
Well, we have to make some good faith projections, really. I mean, I think projecting a 10% increase over our normal traffic, drawn from those areas where we're heavily advertising, and measuring those folks that come in, I think that's a pretty conservative estimate of what we could get. People love coming to the Low Country anyway, and if you give them an incentive like that with the film and the new immersive theater, I'm unaware of any place in South Carolina that's going to have an exhibit like we're having with this immersive theater. There are going to be celebrations all over the state for the 250th anniversary of the Declaration. But this is going to be a unique presentation, and I think people will line up to see it. And we need to let the people upstate know it's here before they'll come down and spend the time and the resources. But I think they will.
John, thank you for serving this group. I got a few questions for you. If I'm right, your museum is upstairs from the CVB Welcome Center.
Correct.
Is that the staircase you're talking about?
It is the staircase on the other end of the museum.
So it's not that one?
It's not that one.
Okay, and that's where people come regularly to go to the museum? Is the
They
other
do not.
staircase?
They currently do not, we do not use that stairwell because that space has been under lease to the Gullah Geechee folks, and that lease just expired. We're in negotiations with Rob Wells now to possibly lease the space, but he has assured me that whether we get the space or someone else gets it, we will have access to that stairwell.
So you'll move in entries and exits instead of people going through the visitor center, they'd go to this other staircase?
Yes.
Okay. Second issue is that our designated marketing organization here is the CVB, as you know. Many organizations that are doing events reach out to the CVB and ask them for lack of a better word, a memorandum or a proposal or some sort of agreement for them to oversee your marketing, because that's what they do. Why have you chosen a different route in going with a firm out of Greenville as opposed to doing what these other organizations are doing?
Well, I wasn't aware that that's what the other organizations were doing. I have had a fair amount of discussion with Rob Wells on the proposal.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob didn't suggest that they were being circumvented, didn't seem to be in any sort of a bad mood because.
I'm not suggesting they were circumvented or a bad mood.
Oh.
I'm suggesting following up on the point that Anita made, and I think you made. If this committee meets and the number is less than $60,000, we're going to have a discussion about, well, John said it, couldn't get it all, he didn't want anything. And so I'm operating under the premise that there may be an asset there for you to ask to help you as opposed to just not being able to do something. So I think I've got what I need for an answer. If someone else wants to proceed.
No questions
No
here?
questions?
Thank you.
Thanks very much.
Okay, the Gullah Traveling Theater. Oh, they're here. There's 14 that we
They
don't
should
have.
be.
Are we early? 10.
We're 10
We're a couple minutes early. Can we
Take off this now?
can we take anybody that's here?
You can either take a recess early, or you can
Yeah.
take someone out of the board. Go to the board.
Keep going? Everybody okay? Did anybody need a recess? Quick?
Take
Okay.
that he's here. Let's take-
Yeah.
Would you like to go?
Mitchellville is here.
Sure thing. Pays to be early.
I try to be early.
Yeah, it's a good habit, for sure.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ahmad Ward. I am the Executive Director for Historic Mitchellville Freedom Park, and we are in front of you today to ask for a funding amount of $35,000 to support our 11th annual Juneteenth celebration and our 6th annual Holiday Nights and Lights program. These two programs are our highest programs as far as visitation over the last few years. Last year's Juneteenth celebration, that we did an entire week because it was our 10th anniversary. And so the day itself, we had about 1,530 people there, which is about an 8.5% increase from the previous year. Week full of events, we extended it from usually it's a Thursday through Saturday. Last year we did Monday through Saturday. I probably won't do that again. But there was a 15% increase in visitation over the course of that week, with about 2,300 people that we saw. Holiday Nights and Lights is our big function. We light the park up. It's a holiday kickoff. And 3 days, 2 hours a evening, 6 to 8. We have averaged 3,000 people over the course of that. Last year we had 3,000 folks. Through our surveys and the things we're trying to get information, we can tell probably about 1,800 of those people from out of town. Sunday night, we had about 395 cars come through the park. And if you've ever been to our park, you know that's an insane number of cars that come through any place, especially our place. We are looking for support here because even though we do have a few marketing sources, some of you are aware we're in a major campaign here to build the park. And so some of our other marketing sources go towards general marketing of the construction, the master plan process that we're working through. We just unveiled some ghosted structures in the park last June, which has aided in a 30% increase of visitation to the park. We're currently working on a research facility, archaeological research facility that should open next year that we'll have to put some marketing towards. So your funds are going towards radio, TV, and streaming, social media, digital advertising, some print, and some airport advertising to go outside of the area. We are targeting spaces like Charlotte, Florida, trying to edge more into some of those outlying markets. As the scope of our project increases, the scope of our marketing is increasing. And so we're doing our best to move out there as much as possible. To that end, we made an investment, a rather hefty one, I might say, in some AI software called Placer AI. Malls and amusement parks use this software, helps us trace. It does a little bit more than you probably wanted it to. It's a little scary, but they use panels for these things right here, and so each panel may have like 3 million in it. So I can go into the system and not only see where people are coming from, but where they're going after they leave us. And so I can look at the restaurants, the attractions that they're going to before they come to us, after they come to us. I know that last year's Juneteenth festival, when people left the park, they went to Home 2 Suites and Palmetto Bay Marina and the Ramada Hilton Head and Hampton Inn and Suites in Bluffton Hilton Head. So we actually are able to trace the hotels that they're going to. I can't really give you deep information about the numbers. We have a percentage, but it allows us to track where people are coming from, where they're going. I can tell you through that software, we know that last year's Juneteenth, we had people from Alabama, Florida, Georgia, Kentucky, Michigan, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Virginia, of course, all the southern states, and some people from Canada, and also Maine. And we can see roughly around the numbers of people who are coming to the park during that time frame. It won't let you scale down to a specific day, but we can get about a couple of week, 2-week period in there, so we know approximately where people are coming from. When you dig a little deeper, you can see on this day, things shot up to about 1,600 folks. And so, of course, that's the big Saturday event, and we're able to trace that. So I'm here to answer any questions that you may have. We are appreciative of the investment that you've made in our project over the years as we continue to grow, and we value this collaboration with Beaufort County.
Thank you. I'm the person on the committee that's assigned the opportunity to work with you, and we appreciate you being here and what you're doing.
Absolutely.
I have a few questions for you. One is, I see where you applied for $150,000 in ATAX funding from the town of Hilton Head. Have you received notification on that?
We have received notification.
Did you receive the money?
Yes, we have not, we got all the money. Now we're in a situation
Did they
where we have to
award you the
reimburse.
money?
Yeah, we have to reimburse over there.
But they've awarded you that
Yes, sir.
amount?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, so that's kind all right. Second issue, you had mentioned that a fair amount of investment had been being made. What's the source of that investment and how is that changing the visitor experience to the park?
Well, we've been very fortunate over the last couple of years to have been engaged in a quiet capital campaign. So we've received about $5 million from the state towards construction over the course.
PRT or from some other?
Mostly from PRT, some from the Department of Archives and History. For the research facility, we were able to connect with the Mellon Foundation and get $2.5 million for that project.
That's in addition to the 5?
Absolutely, yeah, that's outside of the pie. So Mellon Foundation is an international philanthropic organization. We have our own campaigns that we're doing both locally and outside of the area. There are national targets that we're trying to acquire. You know, this project is a $22.8 million project. We got $1 million from the state last month to go towards archaeology for the interpretive center. That's going to put us roughly around $9.5 million over the last couple of years. So we're almost halfway there. And so a lot of energy goes into trying to make those things happen. That's why it's important for the programming that we're doing to get marketing dollars to dedicate to that programming. Because not only am I trying to advertise programs, we're also trying to advertise what's happening on the physical plant as well.
Okay, so you mentioned an archaeological center and you just mentioned interpretive center. Is the interpretive center something that's?
Yeah, two different things. Yeah, two different things. So
Okay.
the interpretive center is the goal. That's the main building. That's the museum component that we hope to complete sometime in the near future. The thing that's the barrier is just the money. That is a $12 million project. I'm working on that right now, trying to raise those funds. So that would kind of almost complete the plant for the 36 acres that we have. There are other elements that we're trying to work on, but that's the main goal. We've been fortunate because this is a park site. We've been able to piecemeal things and grow things and build things outside of like one chronology, you know.
Congratulations on putting together those multiple sources. I
Thank you.
recognize it's a little like cooking a stew.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Are you tracking any way what your repeat visitors might be 1 year compared to the previous year?
We are. The software does allow us to see casual versus new. And so we've been very fortunate with these two programs that the casual has been a higher percentage. I believe last year's Juneteenth casual percentage was roughly 54% as far as new visitors to the event, which is good. Part of that was we increased marketing a little bit because it was the 10th anniversary, and we put a lot more elements into it to draw people from outside of the area to come. So we were really happy with that percentage.
And am I correct, the town purchased the property that the park is on?
Yes, the town owns the property. That purchase was probably back in the late 90s or so, I believe. We've had a lease since 2017.
How many acres is in the park?
The original lease was for 33 acres. We were able to pick up about additional 3 acres in 2022 with a joint effort between the county and the town. There were about 3 acres of property that was jointly owned, and we were able to get that included into the lease in 2022.
Okay, so you got 36 acres total.
Yeah, 36 total.
If you were to describe build-out, where are you in? Are you at 20%, 80%?
I would venture to say build-out as far as things that are in progress. Well, actual on-the-ground being done, we're probably about 15%. Things that are in process, we're around 55%. So there are about 4 capital projects going on right now.
The reason I'm posing this question is that Mitchellville's an interesting story and it's kind of unique. And you're talking about these 2 primary projects you have, your Holiday and your Juneteenth. Are those your primary tourism attraction events? And in the rest of the area, you're sort of encouraging someone who's already here to stay an extra day or 2 and visit that way? Are those your 2 primary tourism-related attractions?
Right now. We do about 5 major projects a year. Freedom Days in February. We just had our Blues and Barbecue fundraiser a couple of weeks ago. Again, that's more of a localized thing for people who are in the area. And then we have a anniversary program. We know that Mitchellville was created either late October, early November 1862. So we always do a program around that time frame. The last 2 years we've done a film festival, and that is usually geared toward people in the area. Juneteenth and Holiday Nights and Lights allows us to go out a little bit further. And along with just our general marketing, trying to bring people to the park. Like, we're trying to attract tour companies to come down to see us as we're growing. So that's putting efforts out there a lot further away from the South Carolina state line. Try to get people in the park in general. That's why we're trying to do more things in the park, get people used to the park, and have people put it on their schedule. Like, I can tell you that we have people who came to Juneteenth. We've got a group of friends, for the last 3 years, they come down from Virginia just for Juneteenth.
And
And
who
so they-
manages your marketing?
I'm sorry?
Who manages your marketing program?
We work with a firm called Foresight Communications out of Columbia, South Carolina. I inherited them when I got here about 7.5 years ago. They've done a good job for us.
Thank you, that's all I have.
In using your program to track your data and statistic, if I'm a guest there, do I have to log in to?
No.
You don't have to log in?
No, that is the somewhat scary part about it.
Okay.
If your phone is on,
Oh,
I don't get your name and things like that, but
Okay.
I know where you came from. I know what you like to
well, you're
do.
spying on me.
That's the ping marketing I was asking about
You're
earlier.
spying on me.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know what you like to eat, but I don't know who you are specifically.
Okay.
You're
okay,
faceless.
okay,
And the
okay.
name of that software again?
It is Placer
Placer.
AI. And you go take a look at it. It's we got fortunate because we got an investment to put some money into it. It is a pretty expensive platform,
Okay.
but it has really transformed the way we do grants and
Okay,
programs.
so-
It helps me do a lot of stuff. But it's not something that everybody can jump into.
No, no.
When you say pretty expensive, what does that mean?
I think our investment this year was maybe $18,000
Thank you.
for the year.
Not too bad. Yeah, sounds sponsor.
For a nonprofit, that's kind of hefty.
Yeah.
We had a little bit of help. That was helpful.
I was gonna say, Rob and, the Visitors Bureau uses something
Yeah.
similar.
Mhm.
I don't know if it's the exact same one, but we do have access to that.
There's a lot of platforms. There's a lot of platforms you can use. We were able to jump in that one with a deal last year, and so came back this year with, hey, it's going to go up a little bit. So we'll see how long we use it.
And this is the only means of tracking guests that's used?
No.
Okay.
We do evaluation
Okay then.
efforts
Okay.
on site. Like,
Okay.
we always do that. In fact, when you come to Holiday Nights and Lights, before you get in the park, we give you an envelope.
Mhm.
We ask for your zip code. You can either scan your information in, you can fill out your address, and then we pick those up. It's a donation thing, so when people come back around, they can drop a donation in. We take all the information from those, and we put it into the system. Also, at Juneteenth, we have people going around doing surveys to get information as well. That's the cleanest way we've been doing it. And before we had Placer, that's how we were getting all of our
Yeah,
information.
mhm, yeah, I got
You know, just talking to people and getting details.
Well, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you.
Good to go.
Okay.
Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, Gullah Traveling Theater.
I'm gonna recuse myself. Good morning.
Good morning.
How's everybody today?
Very
Good,
good.
thank you.
I just hit a button. What is that? Okay, let me try to get that. There we go. Hit back. I'm Denise Bullen. I'm here representing the Gullah Traveling Theater and our request for funding and support for the Gullah American Revolution experience. We are partnering with the South Carolina 250th Commission, and they have awarded us funding to produce a new play that tells the story of the Gullah people's participation in the American Revolution. As a part of that, they want to share the storytelling, the excitement, the information, the celebration, and wants to make sure that folks who might traditionally have been left out of the stories that we tend to associate with the American Revolution are brought to life. And so the Gullah Traveling Theater has entered into a relationship with both the State Anniversary Commission as well as with the local Beaufort Jasper County local committee as well. I know they're on your docket for later on this afternoon. Rich Thomas has worked with us to put this collaboration together. What we have agreed to and proposed in terms of a structure of how it is going to work, the commission has asked, actually the local area committee asked, that we do some free previews of the show around the Beaufort Jasper community. So we're going to be doing vignettes from the show in the schools, as well as we're doing 4 community events. And that's really primarily what we are requesting for. At the time when we wrote the grant, some of the details were still a little bit less than nailed down. They're nailed down now, and so that's what I'm really updating you in regards to. But anyway, it begins at the Gullah Festival. Their request, not ours, they asked that the first premiere be at the original Gullah Festival. So it will happen on Sunday afternoon on, I think that's the 25th. Let me pull up my notes. And so that's going to be the first free event. And of course, the backdrop of that will not just be the performances we do. We're also working in tandem with the Gullah Festival to actually have an American Revolution Village set up inside of the Gullah Festival. So these two, the theatrical performances as well as the artisan kind of Revolution Village, they will be a center point of this year's Gullah Festival, and we are kind of coordinating that entire effort. So it'll be kind of an event within an event. And so that'll happen on that Sunday. And then on July 2nd, and again, these dates have been chosen by the local area committee, not by the Gullah Traveling Theater. They're asking for us to do a performance for the city of Beaufort, and that will be at USCB on July the 2nd at 4 p.m. We will have artisans, perhaps outside or inside, we haven't decided which, and then they'll come in when it's time for the preview. And so that'll happen on July the 2nd. On July the 9th, we will replicate that event on Hilton Head at Christ Lutheran Church. Again, we are thinking somewhere outside, kind of the artisan village. It may not be the full village, but 2 or 3. We're also doing for these other, not the Gullah Festival, but for the other 3, there are also going to be rice tastings as a part of it. So it's kind of, you come, you get to interact a little bit with the artisans. We're going to have some reenactment actors kind of acting as hosts and hostesses of the event, and then they'll get to kind of interact with the artisans, go in for the production preview, and then be able to come back for rice tasting and continued interaction with the artisans. And so that'll happen at Christ Lutheran. It'll happen in Beaufort, Hilton Head, and in Bluffton. Bluffton on the 19th will also be our premiere weekend, so the show will actually premiere in full that weekend, and that will be the largest artisan market since the Gullah Festival as a part of that event. Let me see. I've told you historical performances, artisan village, and rice tasting. Those are the primary pieces of each one. In terms of marketing, our strategy is using print, radio, and streaming. So we are currently testing the streaming marketplace, and we are now running ads for our performances and events on Disney and Hulu, as well as Facebook. We're working towards Spotify to see how these level up against the network buys. It looks like we're getting more bang for our buck with the streaming than we can pay for with the network TV. It also gives us a wider reach for the dollars and more flexible ad buys, lots of data that comes back to us in real time, so that if we see one ad is doing particularly well, we can up that one, whereas one that's not. So far, we've done very, very well. We've only rolled out our this marketing strategy for what's coming up for Decoration Day. So far, the numbers have been great. The activity has been great. We've been able to adapt it. And so once we get to Decoration Day, we'll have a better baseline. But from there, we intend to go right into the American Revolution push. So flexible content, we can change things, and they don't care how many ads we place. There's not a big machinery because you do most of the work yourself and then upload it. And so it seems to be very, very well. And that's the direction that we're going in. Our goal is to run this ad campaign from whatever point we can get started in May through September. The school activity won't be in the mainstream advertising, but we are going to do a specific digital campaign that will go to mailboxes, email boxes for school districts across the state. And so the idea is that in addition to bringing us to your school district or finding out a way for your students to take part in some of these activities, that we're also trying to open up the channels of community events and activities, bus tours back down here, and complementary types of activities that we would insist. That's a very minor part of the budget. We'll be doing that mostly in-house and just kind of using a digital campaign to achieve those goals.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So on the application, there's a high-level mix of the investment. It says 15,000 television, radio, and social media promotion.
Right.
So is that different? Is what you described?
That's not all in. That's actually part of our matching the funds that the state is giving us. So we have other advertising dollars as well. These are not meant to be the only dollars.
Right, but from these requested funds.
Right.
That's still, that 15,000 is you're gonna allocate that toward marketing.
Specifically promoting these events that we're discussing here.
Okay.
So it helps us target our marketing for these specific American Revolution celebrations.
And I apologize if you said this, but kind of the geographic target of that marketing outside the local area, more inside?
Correct. So in everything we do, we're usually able to get some value add, and that's how we cover the local. But we're paying for further out. Rob Wells taught us this, right? And so we do cover the local marketplace as well. And of course, we do flyers and rack cards and things to make sure and make sure that we get an article and ads in the local newspapers, because we don't want our community to be left out. But these funds are primarily for our reach.
Other questions?
Yeah, I'm listening to you, do you have statistics that tracks head in the bed in the county?
We rely on the DMO to give us that information. We let Rob know our calendar, and then after the event, we go to him and pull information. We pull the information down. And so this is kind of a new thing, so we don't have a baseline for even the structure of this event with these free previews and things like that. We really don't. But, we know that typically on a show weekend that we can pull in, we can stimulate anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 peoples of activity in the area. And so we hope that this will be, any different. I will tell you that in our conversations with the local area committee, that they have a lot of interest in, and this we'll do through kind of probably our local more pamphleting and rack cards and flyers, but they really want us to hit kind of the sunbirds on Hilton Head and really make sure they know about it. And so some of it in that regard, they want to they're arranging shuttle buses, like from some of the, I guess, housing developments or areas where people stay, so that they can, they know they're going to put out so many buses and have people come in. So we know that it will attract at least the tourists who are here for the holiday weekend. And so we've actually worked a lot with that. That's really been a high priority for the Hilton Head Foundation. Is it the Hilton Head Foundation? Is that what they're called? And who's also on the museum? I have to look up their name. That's been a high priority for them. If I say their name, you all will know them. I'm still. Let me find out what her name is. My which majig is down. How do I get to? I have to go. I need my phone. At any rate, they're very interested in making sure that our tourists and visitors from the area for Independence Day weekend are know about the event and have access to the event. And so they are working with us on the ground to make sure that people who are local, even temporarily, whether it's for the summer or whether they're snowbirds or whatever, know about the event and have access to getting there to enjoy the event.
Well, how are these payable events sponsored?
How are they sponsored?
Yeah.
The 250th Commission.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yes, they've invested quite a bit of money in this endeavor.
Okay.
The whole project is about $250,000. ETV will be filming. They're making it into, I don't know if it'll be a documentary or a show for archival purposes or for airing. Those details are still yet to be determined, but ETV gets a large slice of that. The whole thing is being funded by them. So these would be part of our match. These dollars would be considered part of our match for this grant award. For this particular part of the grant, the project, we have over $100,000 from the commission that they've already invested in it. And then this would be part of the $50,000 $56,000 in matching funds that we are helping to support.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions? Okay, well, thank you very much.
Nothing? Thank you so much.
I think we're due for a break.
Yep.
Okay, so we'll take a 15-minute break and
My computer.
10:45 for Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra.
okay, perfect. We'll be right on schedule.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's me.
Back to moving here. Our next up, we got Hilton Head, Symphony.
And just to make sure they're broadcasting.
Okay, oh,
Give them
thank
one
you.
sec.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. All right. Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Congratulations on promptness. This is fantastic. The HHSO has been the grateful beneficiary of $25,000 grants from this body for the last 2 years. We have used this money to increase our percentage of tourists by 72% and our visitors by 86%. This translates to more than 4,000 additional tourists and visitors than during our 2021-2022 season. During the 2023-2024 season, we drew 22,918 attendees, 5,001 of whom were tourists. Our just completed 2025 International Piano Competition featured the adult division, ages 18 to 30. Total prizes added up to $43,000, and we will present the first prize winner in recital at Carnegie Hall's Weil Recital Hall on October 25th, 2025. This is our ambassador trip to New York City that results in recital attendees learning more about our competition and the Low Country. Preliminary results of our live streaming of this competition last month revealed 27,229 impressions. Details, however, we will be drilling down more for details. However, historically, our live streams have been viewed in as many as 71 different countries, and 83% of our domestic viewership is from outside of South Carolina. This year, we established a new partnership with Amadeus, a streaming service that made our competition available to an additional 200,000 households across China. Most Chinese citizens cannot access our live stream directly through our website. We estimate the HHSO will directly account for 225 hotel room nights for our visiting artists. Beyond that, families of participants in our Youth Concerto Competition and Chamber Music Institute and HHSO musicians coming from afar utilize area hotels and rentals for their accommodations while here. Adding the many audience members who require accommodations that we cannot track, the HHSO can confidently state we are a significant heads in beds driver. The HHSO fulfills two criteria of ATAX grants: directly drawing tourists and enhancing the experience of tourists already here. Through our 18 orchestra series performances, 3 outdoor pops concerts, the International Piano Competition, Youth Concerto Competition, Chamber Music Institute, Soundwaves presentations, and Jazz in the Park, the HHSO anticipates that its 66 presentations during this season will draw a total live audience in excess of 24,000. 5,250 of which will be tourists, and another 4,400 will be visitors. We hope that our contribution to the tourist and visitor industry mirrors the support provided to the HHSO through the Accommodations Tax Grant administered through this committee. Thank you for your continued help and for your consideration of this proposal.
Thank you. I have the privilege of being the lead on this. All right. I have a couple questions for you.
Yep.
From reading your application for your impact on tourism, you stated that you are with the hotel and restaurant, you co-promote these efforts. How do you do that?
Okay, so we have several hotels that we work with directly where we put materials in their lobbies and in their racks and things like that. We have a partnership with one hotel that's a co-sponsor of our free Jazz in the Park series, so that they work things through. And we're actually working right now with the 4 Marriott properties on the island to start a new series, which we haven't even announced yet, but it's going to be a weekly cabaret presentation at our facility, Soundwaves. And getting all the concierges from the entire area to come to a preview event. It's going to be a Stevie Wonder review, so it should have a lot of popularity. And so we're hoping that that's going to really draw a lot of the weeklies and the tourists.
In reading this, I didn't see the data statistic on hotel stay. Yeah, so data on hotel stay, you have any numbers?
Right. Well, I just mentioned that we
Yeah.
actually directly arrange for 225 hotel rooms for our guest artists, for our competition judges and people like that. So I thought that would have been in the.
Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see
Okay, anyway,
it.
but so there's 225 that we're directly responsible
Yeah,
for.
okay.
And on top of that, we have musicians that that live from afar, that stay in hotels, and then we have audience members, and we have parents of people that come for the Chamber Music Institute, so.
Okay.
Okay.
And your rack cards is placed, where do you place these rack cards?
So they're all around the state. We're working with the state welcome centers, so they get distributed to all of the rest areas and welcome centers at all the interstates in the state. We also make sure that they're in the Savannah International Airport. We have a great relationship with them. If you were there last month and you came down the escalators to the baggage area, you saw our huge international piano competition banner hanging there. They're a great partner that we have screens that are going behind the baggage area. So when people arrive, they know about the competition.
I want to commend you on your detail application, very well put together. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Couple of questions. Congratulations on the trip to New York, and the other one, the Jazz in the Park. I'm just curious, you perform normally at a venue. How many other performances do you do outside that venue?
So we're at First Presbyterian Church for our orchestra series. We do our 6 free Jazz in the Parks concerts at Low Country Celebration Park in Coligny. I'm sorry?
By Shelter Cove, where that used
No, it's a Coligny, right near Coligny Beach, right there off of Pope Avenue. We also do 2 outdoor Pops concerts there. We just did one a week ago. What's today? Tuesday. A week ago today, to about 2,000 people in the fog. And we also perform in Bluffton at the Martin Family Park. We do an outside concert there. That's tied to the Seafood Festival. So we do it the Thursday night right before the final weekend we're working with the Seafood Festival to try and draw the people that come a day early to come and see our concert and kind of kick off a long weekend. We also perform at St. Gregory the Great. Their parish life center holds about 450 people when we squeeze that in with an orchestra. We'd welcome a performing arts center to perform somewhere else off island too.
That was sort of where I was going as a consideration or plan for that. And let me tell you why. You and I have talked about this briefly during the last, so I'll call it a training session. 78% of the aid tax dollars that are collected within Beaufort County's funds, as opposed to the town of Hilton Head, town of Bluffton, city of Beaufort, are collected in the area north of the Broad River.
Right.
If there were an opportunity for the Hilton Head Symphony Orchestra to look at venues in addition to the ones you're currently performing, is that something your group is looking at or interested in?
We're in conversations with the town of Bluffton. They actually convened a focus group a couple of weeks ago to explore. They've hired a consultant to look at the feasibility of a performing space in Bluffton. And we've also had conversations with the folks out at USCB.
Where at USCB?
In the place in Okatee, their main campus, where they're working on that convocation center, I think is what it's called, which will be an arena, but we've talked about whether they might be able to add something that would work for the Hilton Head Symphony. I mean, the challenge is that, we require not only a stage large enough to hold a full symphony orchestra, but also enough people in the audience to make it financially feasible.
How much is it? How many people is that?
Well, ideally, 1,200 to 1,400 people.
Is that what you get in the park?
In the park, we get 2,000. So, the outdoor concerts, last year we got 3,000 in the park.
Those are not
And so, the outdoor concerts are the outdoor concerts. The challenge is, we do move inside if the weather's bad. And so, we can't get 2,000 people anywhere.
I'm trying to get to the question about is the 1,200 related to ticket sales? When you say we need 1,200, is that the reason?
Yeah, it's a good model for the finances to make it feasible.
Okay.
Right now, First Pres only holds 940, which means we have to repeat performances, so that's added cost. If we could get all 1,200 or 1,500 people in on one performance, it's much more efficient.
So the Jazz in the Park events are ticketed?
No, they're free.
Those are free.
Jazz in the Park are free, and the outdoor concerts in Hilton Head and Bluffton, the Orchestra Pops concert, Symphony Under the Stars, they're free. We do sell table tickets because we have them for our sponsors. Need a lot of sponsorship to do a free outdoor concert. But we will sell some of those too. But people can come for free. So come, October 16th and 17th.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, next up, UCSB, Center for the Arts.
Hello.
Am I allowed to hand out one of our playbills? Is that okay?
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank
Sure.
you. This just kind of gives a glimpse as to.
Don't you work with Bonnie?
Why, I do.
And how interesting you'd ask permission to do anything as
Thank
opposed
you.
to just doing it, so. Thank you.
And I'm going to stick to a script. How do you like that? Okay, well, good afternoon. Thank you. My name is Tammy Gates. I'm with the USCB Center for the Arts, located in the heart of downtown Beaufort. And as you mentioned, Bonnie Hargrove is our director. She is sitting right there in that last row. So we are here to respectfully request support from the Tax Committee. This is new. We have not, I don't believe, presented to the committee in many, many years. I've been back with the Center for the Arts for about a year, and my focus is growth for our budget. So that's where we're going to take this presentation. If you're not familiar, which I know many of you are, the USCB Center for the Arts is the primary performing arts venue serving our community for more than 15 years as USCB. We present a diverse range of performances, including national touring artists, community theater, musical concerts, independent films, gallery exhibits, educational programming, and youth productions. We really do make it our mission to enrich, entertain, and educate the public while supporting and enhancing the economic vitality of downtown Beaufort. Another big portion of what we do, which is not the focus of our presentation today, but we're also partners within the community and house many events, whether it's the Beaufort Orchestra, Gullah Traveling Theater, Beaufort International Film Festival. They call our theater home. But we also have our own range of programming, which you will find a segment of in our playbill. So why does ATAC support matter? Tourism and the arts really go hand in hand. Our performances do bring visitors to Beaufort who spend money in local hotels, restaurants, shops, and galleries. Also bringing in national touring artists, we house them, we feed them all within our local economy. So I looked up a study by Americans for the Arts showing that cultural tourists spend 2 times more than your average tourist to an area. Many of our ticket buyers travel from outside of the area, which would be Charleston, Savannah, to attend our performances. I have several videos of our performances just this year of people coming up and saying, we traveled from Greenville just for this performance, right? So to us, the quality of programming that we can offer is key to attracting visitors from outside of our area. So how the funds will be used, we're going to, again, focus on the offerings, bringing artists to attract a wide audience, and then enhance our strategic marketing efforts and advertising efforts to increase tourist attendance at our season performances. My focus, I really, really, really want to enhance our digital marketing efforts. Again, I've been back at the Center for the Arts for about a year. Bonnie has done an amazing job with the programming. I'm coming to provide lift and promote growth for the Center for the Arts.
So again, a big focus on digital marketing. Would love to expand into YouTube, some regional print media, definitely social media campaigns targeting visitors, planning to visit the Low Country, and also the funds will support a lot of our marquee events that have a proven tourist draw. Electric Avenue, the 80s MTV experience that we just had, they have quite the following. We have a group that's coming in May called Boy Named Banjo. They are hail from Nashville, Tennessee. They're Swanee grads. Like, our focus with that is to target their alumni, draw them to the Beaufort community. So that's one of the programs. And then we partnered with someone I won't name in the room for Off the Wall and Onto the Stage, which was an amazing event. And we're also going to bring the South Carolina Ballet back next year for Dracula. So, we're really just looking to enhance our programming, expand our reach through digital marketing, but we need help to do that. So last season, we drew, it was about 15,000 patrons. And again, our numbers, we have our programming, and then we also have those that benefit from the use of the facility. But about 450 of those for us came from outside of the area. I pulled those numbers for this season alone, and we've already increased that up to 900 based on the program that we have. And my goal would be to increase that to 25% of our attendees to draw, because we have not sold out every single performance, so there is room for growth.
Is it okay if we pause for questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure we stay on time.
Oh, Emma, I was about to say, I really can talk a lot, so please, I don't see a timer. Tell me to stop.
Mr. Green?
Yes.
I'm just listening. You got a way of tracking everyone that you bring in that's from more than 50 miles away?
Yes, yes. We have a pretty robust ticketing system that allows us to see the analytics of where they're coming from in the area. It's audience view. We're hoping to get an even more robust ticketing system soon, but that's what we have for now.
So that, and you just mentioned some numbers from 450?
That was from our fiscal year 23
Okay.
or 24. Yeah, the last one that we reported.
To 900?
Yeah, for this
in
year.
1 year?
Well, and that goes to the type of programming that we offer.
Okay.
Is what we're.
So what's your goal now?
So I would love to grow it to about 25% of our attendees. So again, the more we can produce, and that number can grow exponentially. Right now, we could conceivably in the next fiscal year go up to probably 3,000 if we were to really focus in on those digital marketing efforts that are, outside Greenville. And again, the artists that we're bringing in, like Boy Named Banjo, that already have a national following, is a natural segue to be able to do that.
Anyone else?
The previous presenter from the Hill Dance Symphony was talking about perhaps they needed 1,200 people. You also was talking, sitting behind you there, also talking about the convocation arena that USCB is proposing to put on the Bluffton campus.
Mm-hmm.
One of the featured items about that would be that there would be a sign on 278 alerting people to programs and activities going on inside the center, so
Right.
that very busy highway would be a marketing arm.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see anything like that. I see some banners and things. Has any thought been given to reaching out to the city and giving you some mechanism whereby you can tell the many people that drive by that campus every day what's coming?
That has been a part of our conversation. We've discussed with the controller's office, if there was some kind of contract with the digital billboards that are on 95, if we
Just
could come
specifically
into.
something on the campus in front
Oh,
of where you are.
specifically.
Is there some reason you would not want to see a sign there?
No,
Is that something you would like to see?
we would like to, yes.
All right.
We're never going to say no.
Well,
To-
if
yes,
it's
to
something you
promoting.
looked at and decided it was inconsistent with the architecture, it would diminish the quality of the student experience or something, I won't.
Yeah, I don't think so. And, we do, reach out to the students. And then again, some of our presence is within the digital realm with USCB, being on their calendar and in their email marketing. But I love the idea
of a physical banner, if it would be allowed. That would not be my area to approve that.
Nor mine,
But there you go.
if
But we
don't
can ask. We
Maybe
can
someone
ask.
will say no that might be convinced to say yes, but thank you. That's all I have.
And listening to you, I heard that this is your first time applying. And
Correct.
first time you're focused on marketing at this point.
Yes.
And in your marketing strategies, make sure you include hotels, head in the bed, that's what we look for, head in the bed.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
you, next time you come for your funding, of
Okay.
head in the bed, so we can see how your marketing is bringing in guests to our low country.
To the hotels.
Yeah.
And that's another area, and
Yeah.
again, you know, we do have limited capacity, so we're trying to work smarter,
Yeah.
not harder. But partnerships with local hotels
Yeah.
to be able to offer those getaway packages. I've contacted Data Island, their person, because they have experienced Data. You know, how can we enhance that? There's touring buses that come through, you know, so really reaching out, how can we enhance those packages that are bringing, because we really do bring a lot of value to our community
Okay.
with our programming, so.
Thank you.
I do have one more. When you say you have limited capacity, you're referring to your budget for marketing, you're referring to your number of seats, just not enough of you?
Probably a little bit of everything. So we
Okay.
are a smaller venue. We're 440 seats. So, you know, to bring in those larger touring artists gets a little bit scary on the budget.
I'm just asking you to tell me what you.
Yes, and then we have two
Yes.
full-time staff members that do everything from marketing to presentation to all
Thank
of the above. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Carolina Bright Sanctuary?
I'll be recusing myself on her board.
Okay.
Good morning, and
morning.
thank you for your volunteer service. Before I begin, you know, I sat in my house this morning getting ready to come see y'all, and I heard painted bunting singing outside of my house, and I thought, this is why we're doing what we're doing, because we have that right here. And for those of you who don't know what that is, it is probably the most desired bird on any birder's list because they look like rainbows, living rainbows. So, good morning. My name is Jennifer Clementoni. I am the director of the Carolina Bite Sanctuary. We are here to talk about the Wings Over Beaufort Festival, which is being held September 23rd through the 26th in areas throughout Beaufort County. There are some data statistics that just came out recently as of last week that I actually forwarded on to Rob Wells that I thought some folks would be interested in hearing when it comes to the numbers that birders the impact that they have on economics. $38 billion total tax revenue generated by birding activity, including $7 billion in county taxes, $9 billion in state taxes, and $22 billion in federal taxes. So that's one statistic that would make anybody's eyebrows get raised. 1.4 million jobs attributed to bird-related activities such as trips, equipment expenditures, and more than $90 billion in labor income. $108 billion on annual trips, food, lodging, and equipment such as bird seed and binoculars. And $279 billion is the total economic output generated by birder expenditures. That is in the US alone. So that is real-time data that just came out last week that was published. Now, with regards to our grant funding request, part of it was for drawing a keynote speaker. And I can tell you that there is buzz already. We have drawn the most famous ornithologist in the United States and the most recognized birder in the community, in David Allen Sibley, who has sold over 2 million books in the United States alone. And in fact, most birders' first books are Sibleys, and when I gift books to people, I always make sure they're a Sibley. So just that name alone, the buzz has started to get out, and I have had people reaching out to me from Florida, Georgia, upstate North Carolina, and South Carolina, and people are really excited about this. This also gives us a huge stamp of approval, not only on the Carolina Bite Birding Center, but on the festival in general. He does rare appearances, maybe one a year. So we are very excited about that. We are also asking for funding related to not only the opening event, but the closing event. Stephen Schabel from the Center for Birds of Prey up in Awendaw is actually, why is anybody calling me right now? I'm sorry. Is actually coming down with some of their birds that they have in the education center to do the closing event. And that always is something very special for people to see. And then part of it is for the rentals. We're gonna need staging, tent, tables and chairs, bathroom facilities, because right now we do not have any on site as we're working through our build out and zoning. We do have a pledge of $15,000 to help offset some of the costs. Now, I just received confirmation this morning from Felicia Sanders, who is from South Carolina Department of Natural Resources and the head of the Coastal Shorebirds program. Basically, she was actually on CBS Morning News this weekend because Beaufort Bank, which is where some of our endangered whimbrel and red knots stage at this time of year, is now an official protected sanctuary and recognized. So that is exciting. Felicia is going to join me in leading a shorebirds walk and also do a presentation one evening. We have developed relationships with many partners in the area because of our good name and our hard work and our dedication. Part of our experience on the agenda is having access to lands that are not normally open to the public. So our relationship with Nemours Wildlife Foundation, we're gonna have 4 tours there. And that's pretty amazing to have people coming from the outside when you normally would not be able to gain access to that. Spring Island as well, the Low Country Institute over there. I'm a graduate, as well as my husband, of the Low Country Master Naturalist Program. I'm very close with Dr. Andy Jones and Tony Mills, who run that. They are also going to do a tour and a speaking engagement. So we are also focused on doing some activities, like I said, at Hunting Island, also down in the Hilton Head region, so that everyone in the area feels welcome and able to explore all of the beautiful places that we have here. We don't have to worry about investing in a lot of the data programs that have been that have been mentioned earlier, because I can tell you, my phone, 99% of us bird nerds, as we like to call ourselves, we use an app called eBird, which means anytime we see a bird, we report it, the location, it pins you. Our phones are always active. In fact, I did it this morning because I saw some Canadian geese out in the retention pond. But we will be able to track who is here from what areas, and obviously we will be partnering with Rob as well. So, do we have any questions?
No questions? This one was actually assigned to you, so, okay.
Nope, it's not.
No, Kristen?
I don't know if that's a good or a
No,
bad
it's
thing.
not.
No, it's fine. Okay, so then,
Carolina Mike was reassigned.
what's that?
I'm not the responsible party.
Oh, it got did you get reassigned?
Yep, I asked for it to be
have that one.
reassigned.
Oh, no problem. So, okay, so walk us through, again, what specifically the investment would be used for?
So this portion of the grant that we are asking for would be used to help offset the cost, would be paying the speaker fee for the keynote speaker. I can tell you that our closing speaker is doing this as a favor and it is not requesting an honorarium. So we're very appreciative of that, because he has to get back up to Awendaw with his birds, so he will not be staying over. But part of that would be for lodging and transportation and airfare for our keynote speaker, as he lives in Western Massachusetts. Also, it would be really for staging and for setup, so tables, chairs, microphones. We are also going to have a dinner at that keynote speaking event, so we will need extra tables for service. We will also have to rent some bathroom facilities, because we anticipate a large influx of people coming in for that speaking engagement alone.
And do you have a target number of people to visit throughout the whole event?
Well, our first event with very little press garnered 97 attendees from 7 different states. We're aiming to quadruple that. Yeah.
And why is birding so popular?
You know, there's many reasons. First of all, to me, it's an easy activity, and there's no boundaries as far as you don't have to be the most athletic. You don't have to be the youngest. You know, you can have both mental and physical limitations to do so. Actually, I just shared a story on our social media about a young autistic boy who was 11 years old in Oklahoma that was able to mimic 50 bird sounds. Now listen, I'm a great birder. I've seen 219 species in Beaufort County this year alone, I can't mimic birds, so please don't ask me to do that. This boy, it was amazing. You would not know the difference. So COVID helped. This is an activity where the COVID, issues helped this area. People were looking to get outside.
Right.
People are looking to travel now. My husband and I are perfect examples of that. We left behind our corporate careers, and now this is what I do for a living. And
Can I keep going down that thread?
yeah, sure.
So, just you mentioned economic impact of birding, but it's pretty common for people to want to travel, actually stay in a hotel, and then visit multiple sites for birding in a general area. Sounds like that's pretty.
Oh,
happens
yes.
a lot.
Yeah, it does. And we have clients, so I can tell you that we've done 51 tours already this year. I've been a busy bee. But 91% of my clients have come from out of state. And 3 of them, one of them I've done this year, she came down specifically to bird with me from Ontario. I have a client coming in from Portland, Oregon, and I have a client flying in from Seattle, Washington, all staying for 3 to 4 days just to bird with me around the area. So our impacts are great because we have a good reputation, we've built relationships, our social media is kept up to date. I'm also a photographer. That helps. I get to show people real time. Like a lot of other tour companies don't get to show real time, or they have stock pictures. No, I'm showing you what I'm actually out there seeing in real time. So people get excited about that. Like I said, plus we've built a good reputation and relationships with a lot of people throughout the area. But we have everything here. I've always said this. Mother Nature has provided us with the perfect landscape where there's very little capital that needs to actually be invested. We have all of these beautiful spaces that people will go to go birding. We just have to promote it the right way.
Is Atlantic flying something?
So the Atlantic Flyway and the Carolina Bight region, so you've heard of the Ace Basin before, right? Well, the difference between the Carolina Bight, which stretches from Harbor Island, basically just south of Hilton Head and includes all the waterways as well in that area, all of our rivers, all of the marshes, we are talking about saltwater. We're not talking about freshwater. The Ace Basin, some of those are freshwater. And I want to say, I hope I don't get this wrong, and please correct me if I am, but I think that it's 50% of the salt marshes in the state of South Carolina are in Beaufort County. Okay, so our waterways and our landscape are completely unique. So we draw different birds. So the folks that are coming to see me from Oregon and Washington and Canada, they don't have the chance to see the same kind of shorebirds that are migrating here. The redknots and the whimbrel come from Chile and Argentina, fly the Atlantic Flyway in the Carolina Bight, and then head up to the Arctic to breed. Yeah. And you bring up a good point. The reason that this festival is targeted when it is for fall migration.
Right. Which happens to not be the busiest time for here either. So
it's a perfect opportunity to start filling the hotels and filling the restaurants and having shopping happening because it's not as busy of a time. People are back in school, they're not traveling anymore. Birders, we travel. I just did it myself a couple weeks ago to go do some research and do some birding down in Florida.
Yeah, sounds like an activity and attraction that could attract a lot more people. So.
Absolutely.
What questions from anyone?
No, thank you.
No. Well, thank you all again.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day.
You too. Okay, the Henry Clay Foundation.
Good morning. Thank you all for having me. I'm nervous, bear with me. So the Henry Clay Foundation, on behalf of Mid-City Smoke Athletic League, is requesting a grant to sponsor the inaugural Smoke Invitational Basketball Tournament. It'll to be held in beautiful Beaufort County. We are requesting a sum of $152,000. This basketball tournament will draw significant foot traffic and revenue from beyond a 100-mile radius, attracting tourists from across the country as well as outside of the continental U.S. to experience this island's rich cultural heritage and history. The tournament will not only boost local tourism, but also provide scholarships for the children in the Mid-City Smoke program in the local community, fund their uniforms for various sports offered by the organization, and be their source of funding for other tournaments, travel, lodging, meals during the season, etc. The tournament will provide volunteer opportunities and temporary jobs for tournament staff, offering economic benefits to our community while laying out the foundation for a lasting tradition that Beaufort County can build upon and take pride in for years to come. I plan to apply for a waiver from the school district should we choose, under the guidance and direction of the Sports Tourism Department and the leadership in the community, to host it at those locations. Otherwise, we would be looking to host these in county assets such as Burton Wells and the other recreation centers that we have in the county, like the YMCA or perhaps the Beaufort County Parks and Recreation, like I said, such as Burton Wells. We already have those assets listed on our insurance policies as additional insureds, just in case we need to utilize those facilities in the future for practices, events, and tournaments, scrimmages, or games. We can provide ample insurance, which exceeds the minimum riders required to utilize Beaufort County School District or parks and recreation facilities. AAU athletics has a huge fan base, and basketball happens to be one of the most popular sports within the program. However, we don't want you guys to get caught up in specifically basketball because we are a multi-sport AAU organization. So this model that we're using can be used as a beta test, and this blueprint can be used as a benchmark to provide a similar tournament for any of the 45 sports that AAU offers, which includes ball sports, it includes martial arts, and a plethora of other sports, including wrestling, jump rope, whatever. So we don't want to get caught up on just basketball. This blueprint can be used for any of the sports that AAU offers. Like I said, as a Tier 2 AAU organization that has been in operation for over 7 years, Smoke Athletic League has the presence of mind, the wherewithal, and the resources to pull off an amazing basketball tournament that will not only bring repeat patrons to this island of Beaufort and Beaufort County, but do it in a way that local businesses and vendors will mutually benefit by making sure that food and concessions are provided, making sure that our tourism guide, which is a publication that we are publishing to serve as a guide or an asset map for the tourists when they come into the tournament. When they purchase their tournament entry fees, they will get this asset map. It's actually a word find puzzle that will guide them to the places to visit, the sites to see, and the restaurants and places that they need to endorse in order to experience the fullness of what the county has to offer.
We may pause for questions if that's okay.
Yes.
You're doing great, by the way.
Okay. Yeah.
Who wants to jump in first?
No, I just want to ask, how would the students for this smoke be gathered, or what instrument you use to get the students to be involved in this program?
So what we do is, and that's a great question, thank you for asking that. Our program, in order to participate in our program, it's free. They're not paying monetary dollars, but they have to invest time currency with us. So they are required to have a minimum amount of community service hours to participate. So they're paying me in time currency. So we would actually have, as the host organization, we would have our students participating in the ticketing of this, in the welcoming. We're going to have a seminar where they will be able to articulate how the program has benefited them, and also they are going to be required, if we do use the school district, right, they will be required to actively participate in the actual execution of the tournament. So that means operating the scoreboard. It means, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm not trying to cut you off, but
No,
I'm
go
worried
ahead.
we're going to run out of time, so I have a few questions for
Okay.
you. What's the You provide great examples in
Mhm.
here about studies for activities in Louisville,
Yes.
Houston, and Hampton, Virginia.
Yes, sir.
That's great, and that's good information. What's the relationship between the Henry Clay Foundation and the Smoke Athletic League?
They're both my organizations. So
the
the
Smoke Athletic League is operating in a number of other places now?
Yes.
Where?
So I have 2 teams in Texas. I have, this season, I anticipate 4 teams. A boys' team, grades 3 through 6, and a girls' team, grades 9 through 12, and 2 boys' teams, one 7th through 9th, and then one 10th through 12.
So
Because
those
I
would be teams competing in an event like this. The Smoke Athletic League wouldn't be producing the event like this. Is that right?
Would you say? I couldn't hear.
So Smoke Athletic League is made up of teams, and the event that you're talking about is something that Smoke Athletic League teams might participate in, but they would not be the presenting party. The presenting party would be the Henry Clay Foundation. Is that right?
Correct.
And do you have any activities where the Henry Clay Foundation has done anything like this in the past anywhere?
Not in the capacity of Henry Clay Foundation.
Okay.
So
Well,
we
have
have.
you done it with other organizations?
Yes, we
Where?
have,
Which
we
one?
have. It's an organization called the DC Queens,
Mhm.
and it operates out of Texas.
Mhm.
And they do a tournament every year, as well as like Clash of the Clubs as well. So, which is a very successful event.
Okay, so I'm worried about time again, so bear
Okay,
with me a
yeah.
little bit here. Your
So-
$152,000 request may be the largest we've received, is certainly one of the largest, if it's not actually one of the largest. What I'm concerned about is you have a lot of loose ends on your venues. What happens if the school district or the county can't accommodate the tournament you want to have? What are you gonna do?
Well, there are other options. We can go outside of the immediate area, and
Like where?
we can go, there is a facility in Bluffton. The facility in Bluffton does have the propensity to be able to hold that capacity.
Is that a
But the
county facility or what?
It is, it's still a county facility. It
So
would be
if
Parks and
you can't reach
Recreation.
agreement with the county or the school district, do you have a place to have your tournaments, what I'm asking? I want you to reach agreement with them, not saying you won't, but the folks that are asking us to allocate these funds will ask us if you're capable of doing it. So do you are you in negotiations? Do you expect a conclusion at some near term?
Yes, sir. So I am in negotiation with a larger college or university to be able to have it there.
Where
But
would
my
that be?
goal would be, it would probably be someplace like in Orangeburg at South Carolina State or maybe at Georgia Southern. But my goal would be to draw the crowd here so that the community can benefit from the tourism dollars. You understand? So I would not want to, my goal is to bring the foot traffic and the money here so that, you know.
Ours is too, and what our concern obviously is, that we want you to be a success, but having a venue in which, if the performing arts folks or the health ed symphony just a few minutes ago said, we got this great program, great musicians, we don't have a hall to play in, that's a different question. And so that's all I'm trying to do is get that information.
Yes, sir.
And I
Thank you.
appreciate your energy and your activity.
Yes,
in
sir.
it, too.
Thank you.
Now, this is your first one.
This would be
This
my
looks
first
like-
one. Yes,
looks
this
like
would
a-
be,
This looks like a pretty big undertaking.
Yep.
Is this a little something you could start smaller and grow?
say again?
Is this an event that you could start smaller and then grow it as time goes by?
Absolutely, absolutely.
How would that affect your funding needs?
It would not affect my funding needs. I would just reallocate, so I would just go smaller. This is based on a model where my bracket, my tournament bracket, the number of teams in my tournament bracket can be reduced. We can also find ways to hone in on a smaller or a more more defined group of kids. Instead of having it open to all age groups, we could maybe focus on just the smaller kids and have a smaller size tournament, which again would require less funds, and we would just allocate the funds. The percentages of the funds would still be allocated in the same way, but we're not doing such a large tournament. We would start small and then grow, if that makes
More
sense.
quick ones. Have you had any discussions with the sports marketing team at the CVB about this, of this CVB here?
Rob Wells?
No, not, I've met with him, and I've had the opportunity to present to him and to the sports tourism department. I was blessed to be able to have that opportunity to present to them. They loved the idea of the presentation. Again, gyms was the was the challenge. And my response to that was that we have so many schools in the district within a small radius that this can be done. It's something that can be pulled off. I've seen it done with even less gyms than what we have here in the community.
So let me ask you this.
Yes,
How
ma'am.
close are you to sort of finalizing or confirm that you're gonna either use the school gymnasiums or the county gymnasiums?
So I'm currently using the district right now. So it would just be a matter of adjusting or requesting to
Schedule.
to tweak my contract. So I am currently under contract with the district right now.
Okay.
And we use the district facilities on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays from 6 to 8:30 p.m. So yeah, we're currently using that.
Which facility?
We are at St. Helena Elementary School. Yes, sir. Mhm. So we've got like a tournament bracket. I've edited the presentation that you guys have before you, but it to include a tournament bracket that has 6 facilities. And it is a combination of the high school facilities and the elementary and middle school facilities for the preliminary tournaments, with the championship game being held at Burton Wells. That's just in my perfect world, right? We would have the games to make the tournament brackets smaller, and then the championship games, the major draw would be, the final, event would be at like our Burton Wells, kind of like our pearl of the community.
Okay. All right, I think our time is up.
Thank you.
Here, so any other quick questions or?
Thank you.
Thank you
Very much.
All right.
Okay. So the Gullah Museum of Hilton Head Island. Oh, I think maybe they weren't here today. Is that right?
I think those were the ones who told me they weren't gonna be able to make it, but I wasn't sure if anyone was here for them.
No one's here, right, from that group? Okay, a favorite court?
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Andrea, last name is Murray. I'm here on behalf of Favorite Corp, a 501c3-based organization here in South Carolina. The purpose of me being here this morning is to present the 803 Low Country Southern Blues Line Dance Festival, to be held Saturday, October 18th at the Low Country Celebration Park on Hilton Head Island. I am excited to say that we have signed and contracted and secured the #1 Southern Blues artist. Oh, I got my boots on the ground. So 803 Fresh will be performing live on Hilton Head Island. His song has gone viral on all social media platforms. Your niece, your grandmother, your mothers, everybody's trying to learn how to do that dance. But he will be performing live, so we don't need funds for him. This song has gotten national media coverage on CNN as well as Good Day America. In addition, I'm happy to say that we have reserved our room blocks at the Hilton Head Inn on Hilton Head. Our group code is SSF, meaning for Southern Soul Festival, at a rate of $169 plus tax. We are in conversations with other hotels to get additional rooms. What does this festival look like? Well, we have a VIP area with tables and seats with white padded folding chairs, a National Southern Blues DJ that has 100K followers on social media platforms, food trucks and food tent vendors for the foodies, craft vendors for the shopper, and a video walls to show the line dancing of other national performing Southern Blues artists that will not be in attendance. If the tax dollars are awarded, we will use the funds for marketing, advertising, and some production needs, and as well as additional bathroom facility. The venue is locked and secured with Hilton Head Island Rec Center, and the permit has been submitted to Hilton Head Island Special Events Department. Our methodology used to track our attendees from last year, we did the 912 Southern Blues Festival in Liberty County. They came on as a huge sponsor for the event. We tracked our events via survey, as well as Eventbrite, who's our Ticketmaster outlet system. Comprehensive marketing strategy, we will use social media, radio, email, direct marketing, as well as our regional military allowance that we have on all the bases. Our attendees has come from upper state of South Carolina, meaning Greenville and Florence, South Carolina, North Carolina, Asheville, Raleigh, and Greensboro, Florida, as far as Jacksonville and Orlando, Tennessee, Virginia, Georgia includes Macon, Augusta, Atlanta, and Washington, D.C. Our projection in return on investments. We are projected to projected to have 100 room blocks. Our total attendance that we are expecting is 400. Our economic impact would be $900. How did I arrive to those numbers? 100 room times 169, plus the total attendance times about $35 in gas and snacks makes it $14,000 to arrive at, again, $30,900. Tourism in attendance, we're expecting about 250. That's probably undermining it a little bit, being that we had close to 500 people in Bryan County last year, and that number will triple this year for that event will be July 5th. Our tourism percentage return margin is about 62%. May I entertain any questions? Trying to stay on task. Sorry if I speed through that.
Doing great.
Okay. In conclusion, I would like to leave you with this. We have an event that will put heads in beds, attract tourists, concert goers, outdoor lovers, and festival attendees to shop, eat out at the local bars and restaurant, and fill up, top off their gas tank, and grab snack at the local gas station on their way back home. Once again, my name is Andrea Murray. October 18th, we'll have the #1 Southern Blues artist, 803 Fresh, Boots on the Ground, in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina.
So, the event is on Hilton Head.
Yes, ma'am.
And these funds are coming basically from this side of the Broad River. How do we get some of those heads and beds on this side of the bridge?
Okay, well, I thought it had to be for Beaufort County. I was
I'm just asking, if there's a way, getting, maybe sharing with your folks that are coming, some other activities that would actually pull them over here for maybe a short visit on this side, to maybe visit some of the restaurants, some of the tourist spots that we have here, like the Harriet Tubman statue and Robert Small statue, Penn Center. Are you going to share that kind of information with your visitors? That's what I'm trying to.
Oh, absolutely. I will definitely let them know what is to do in the surrounding areas. A lot of the feedback that we have right now, because it is up on the website posting that he's coming in well, is additional to the other event that we have in Liberty County, is, how early can we check into the hotel, because that information is up on the website for them to start booking. So I can call my guy that's bringing in the bus and tell him that, earlier that day on Saturday, we can make it a day trip to come over to Beaufort and definitely make some stops here. I have no problem with doing that at all, because I do have people that are bringing buses.
What is the day of that event again?
It's Saturday, October 18th. Doors open at 3, the concert's from 4 to 8.
Make sure I have my fan.
Please bring your fans. Where them fans at? Yes, sir.
A couple of background issues. We're the committee for Beaufort County, the unincorporated area. 8 tax funds that are collected in the town of Hilton go to the town of Hilton Head. They have a similar committee. 8 tax funds collected in Bluffton have a similar committee, and they collect those funds.
Okay.
It's the same for other municipalities and counties in the area. It's a little different than in Georgia, as I recall. And the task we're sort of charged with is to help reinvest these funds where these funds are generated. And because they're generated in an unincorporated area, we raise the questions about events and how that affects, much like Hilton Head has on their application for tax funds, that if this event's not on Hilton Head, pretty much don't bother. So that's why you're sensing this, and I can sense that might be a little bit of new information. Are you having conversations with Hilton Head or Bluffton or any of those folks?
I have not. I just got my last conversation, because York County seemed to be not having a lot of cultural events, so I just had a conversation with them yesterday. So
that's York County?
Yeah, York County. So I'm like in other counties, but not necessarily where I live and pay taxes, as far as in Hilton Head. That's where my home is. So no, I have not had conversations with Bluffton or actually Hilton Head.
Well, Hilton Head's ATAX budget is dramatically larger than the ATAX budget in the county, and so I would encourage
Okay.
you to consider working with them for
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
And since you've chosen a park that's pretty far onto the island, it's not like it's close to the bridge or something.
Right.
It's likely to have more impact on the island and with off island, and we'll be thinking about that. My last question is sort of a personal one in that I had the impression that there was a blues festival and there was a line dancing festival, and the line dancing festival seemed to have a lot of Texas two-step type stuff. You're telling me there's one place where those things merge?
Absolutely. We just did the Spring Fling in Mobile, Alabama, and that was 35,000 people. So it was Southern blues artists,
Okay.
the Otis Ely, and then you had line dancers, steppers just doing their thing.
I just wanted to get
So
that
it all
straight.
goes hand in hand now. It's the new generation.
Well, that may answer the question, because my wife, who's only a couple years younger than me, may not be aware of it either, but if she asks me now, I'll know. I've met someone who's fully plugged in.
Absolutely,
That's all
but I will take that narrative home with me on Hilton Head and Bluffton and seeing when their dates are.
Thank you.
Any other questions that I can attain from the
Thank you.
council?
No,
Thank you. Have a great day. Huh?
Tell Dick he has to have a fan.
Thank you.
Okay.
I appreciate the offer.
The Freedman Arts District.
I have to recuse myself.
Okay. This is me, I think.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I can't sing. Of all the people to follow, thank you all so much for everything that you do. I know this can be a long day for you. I'm in a unique position. I'm Sheremy Weatherford, Freeman Arts District. I am the Executive Director, and I've come to you to ask for assistance and support in an event that took place March 28th through the 30th. Specifically, the Jonathan Green Ballet, and that was on March 29th. I can tell you so much. I could talk about it forever, but I was wondering if you would like me to answer questions, and here's why. We've been through the process. We did the marketing. We met with the attendees. We worked with the ballet performers, and now we have some of the results. We do have preliminary information, but we do have some of the results of our efforts for that time. So I'm happy to focus on that if you like.
It's outstanding.
Yeah, any key stats you can share would be
Of
great.
course, of course. So we did work with Rob Wells, the CVB, and he was able to give me some really helpful information. So the visitor origin from March 28th to 30th, and the ballet took place on the 29th, and that was as part of our, well, in conjunction with Chalk It Up. It was the only night that we could actually get this performance to come to Beaufort, and it was just too good to not accept that date. The preliminary numbers for our spend, and that is, he said, was extremely strong. I would like to wait for the exact numbers on that, but he said that it was clear that it was an increase. And restaurant spend was up over from the previous 4 weeks, it was up 33%. And occupancy rose 73%. We were very, very proud of that. We had ticket holders. We do have a breakdown. Thanks to USCB, they did share that information with us. We have people that came from Chicago, Washington, Raleigh, Atlanta, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida, Chattanooga, Charlotte, Savannah, Columbia. We had people from Wisconsin and Michigan, and we were able to see all of that off of the ticket information. Now, what we were able to see is that the majority of the people, and we used the geofencing with the CVB, the majority of the people had come in on Friday. Some stayed through Monday, so we're very proud of that. And we were able to say that they stayed from downtown Beaufort even onto Fripp Island. So part of the attraction for this ballet, obviously it's Jonathan Green, internationally acclaimed, and he's a local person. And being able to bring that to Beaufort, I think, made a big difference, but they have such a tremendous following. This ballet has been going on for 20 years. And they have such a tremendous following that it pulled people from all over. Any questions?
So I'm getting a little confused. This exact application is to fund what specifically?
I'm sorry, the Freeman Arts District, when we worked in conjunction with USCB to put on Off the Wall onto the stage. It was a ballet, a production on Saturday night.
Okay, during the Chalk It Up.
Yes, sir.
But your organization that runs Chalk It Up, as
Yes,
well?
sir.
Yeah, that's okay. That's
Yes,
what
sir.
was
I
getting at.
apologize.
Just, no, perfect. So, so this would fund that next
The ballet
event?
in specific, yes, sir. The production cost, everything that we put in the marketing budget, the print budget, all of that would go into the 37,100.
For this coming September?
No, sir, it happened this past March. I apologize, yes.
Okay. Okay. so
March
that-
29th was the date of the ballet.
Okay.
We had to borrow from our capital fund, and that's why we're here requesting. We have several things coming up, projects that are extremely important, and we would like to have that reimbursed so that we can replace those funds.
More broadly, the Chalk It Up event in particular, those get pretty big in other cities, don't they?
Yes, sir. Ours was pretty big this year, too. Preliminary numbers on that were 3,000. He's going to give me the rest, hopefully in a couple of weeks, but he said it was very safe to say at least 3,000.
So something like what you just did is an additional draw to bring
Yes,
even more
sir.
people to that event?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And I do have, if you're interested, I met with the business owners. We did two things. We sent out a survey directly after the ballet. We did that the following day. We sent out a survey to local business owners, restaurants, hotels, and I have emails, I have messages. I would love to just share a couple of those with you if I'm able. So from the Spice and Tea Exchange, they wrote, "We saw lots of folks with the Chalk It Up sticker and those in for the ballet. We had higher than average sales. I think the event was great. We loved seeing the artwork and seeing all of the different people." And then we have from Monkey's Uncle. It seemed like a great event, and they are talking about the entire weekend. Seemed like a great event. We had lots of people in the store, lots of artists, even some of the ballet people. And then Nan Brown with Lulu Burgess. We as retailers were actually able to see who came in from the event. We did give everybody a sticker. Who came in from the event. On Saturday was great, higher than our Sunday. Sunday was still wonderful. And one of my favorites, and I have multiple, because the business owners were very kind to respond, and everyone did admit that they had either a higher Saturday, a higher Sunday. We noticed that a lot of the people from the ballet went shopping on Sunday. And the owner of Sweets downtown, they sent us a very nice email saying that we changed their bottom line for the year. And that is something that, we worked really hard to do, and that was both the ballet in addition to the festival.
Questions?
Looking forward to next year.
Yes, ma'am. And if we're able to get these funds, that's going to help us, because this was our first time. And we learned so much, and we learned that ballet was perfect for the mission of the Freeman Arts District, and that is to bring people together through art and creativity. And our ability to do that lessens if we aren't able to get these funds to replace our capital fund.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it so much.
The Beaufort County 250 Committee.
Morning.
Morning.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, county staff, my name is Rich Thomas. I represent the Beaufort County 250 Committee. We are an arm of the State 250 Commission charged with celebrating and observing the 250th anniversary of the American Revolution in the state of South Carolina. You may recall from our initial application, and I would like to say that we're appreciative of the opportunity to submit a second application in the second cycle of funding. Our mission is to educate, engage, and inspire South Carolinians and visitors about the significant role that South Carolina, and in our case, Beaufort County, played in the American Revolution. Within that mission, our role is to support the development of, or to develop, to support the production of, or to produce, and to coordinate single and multi-community events, initiatives, and programs throughout the county in keeping with the scope of our mission. Our project is not a single initiative or a single project, but a series of initiatives, programs, and projects over a period of years. We are approaching it in 3 phases: 2025 to 2026, 2027 to 2029, and 2030 to 2033. Our initial request and this request is focused on the first of those 3 phases, but it also entails some one-time expenses that will be amortized across the entire span of our mission. It is very important for me to say that this is very much a work in progress, and it is constantly changing and evolving month by month. As such, since our initial request, new initiatives have surfaced and require additional funding. Also, since our first request, we have received a $181,000 grant from the South Carolina 250 Commission, for which we must come up with a $53,500 match. The initial 50% of our earlier grant from the county in the amount of $32,500, the 50% being $16,250, is being administered by the Community Foundation of the Low Country as our fiscal agent, and work funded by that grant is in progress on several fronts. Approximately $11,000 of that amount has already been expended or earmarked for near-term projects. In addition to helping us meet the match requirement, this current request is to help support the following new initiatives. A Veterans Day celebration in Waterfront Park, in addition to those in Beaufort, Bluffton, Hilton Head, and the Sun City local ceremonies. We are planning exhibits in 2026 on the Battle of Yamacraw Bluff and the Battle of Bloody Point, both Revolutionary War battles which occurred very early in the war here in Beaufort District. We're also working on a program with the Beaufort County Library System and the Daughters of the American Revolution relative to Patriot exhibits in the libraries and hopefully in the museums in the county, which will feature exhibits of patriots from the 13 colonies, as well as, I didn't silence my phone, excuse me, as well as 15 patriots from Beaufort District during the Revolution. In keeping with that project, we will be producing bookmarks on the 15 patriots from Beaufort District in the Revolution, and those will accompany books and pamphlets that will be available to children from Beaufort County schools. We are working on Carolina Day celebrations countywide next year in 2026 in conjunction with the South Carolina 250 statewide initiative. And most recently, we have begun to investigate the prospect of putting a Fallen Heroes and Ship Martyrs wall somewhere in an appropriate location in Beaufort sometime over the next year and a half. We sincerely appreciate the opportunity, as I said, to apply again, and I'm grateful for your consideration. I know I'm in the unenviable place of keeping you from lunch, and when you're in the military as a leader, you learn never keep the troops from their food. But I would be happy to try to answer any questions if you have them.
Thank you for coming to us this morning. I noticed you have electronic registration caption zip code. How's that done?
Well, with the electronic reservations or registrations for events, we collect that information.
Do you have a program who does that software?
We do. We'll be working actually with different organizations who already have that capability.
Okay.
So USCB, for instance, with OLLI, with Osher Lifelong Learning, they have the capability to take registrations for the various events that they'll be co-promoting with us. With the Heritage Library in Hilton Head, they have that same capability on registrations.
Well, all these activities you have, how do you capture the data for hotel stay in the county?
Well, we will be able to capture data for hotel stays with the reservations that are taken for the various events.
Okay.
Right now, we don't have any of that information, obviously, because we haven't really had our first initiative or event hasn't taken place yet. But they are going to be kind of headlining in July of this year.
Mm-hmm.
We have a number of events that will be taking place that month.
Okay.
And I'm going to take this opportunity to recuse myself because we're a recipient of this grant.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for being here. A couple questions.
Yes.
Congratulations on $181,000 unexpected funding. That's always nice.
Thank you.
What are you anticipating happening with funding over the next 12 months and then in the following time? Because I think your events continue beyond 12 months from that.
Over the next 12 months, the funding that we'll be receiving this year from hopefully an additional round here with Beaufort, we are going to be applying for Hilton Head and Bluffton ATAX later on this year.
Mm-hmm.
We will then have the funding necessary to cover the events that we have planned and look like they may be coming on the radar screen up through the end of 2026. In the future years, one of the major initiatives that we're going to have is related to the Grays Hill Battlefield. And the Grays Hill Battlefield site, the Battle of Port Royal Island, the first victory of the Patriots versus the British in a land battle in South Carolina during the Revolution. That will be a major initiative for 2029 that will begin to start raising funding for in 2026, provided that we can get the approval and the permission from Marine Corps Air Station and from the county to go ahead and proceed with that project, which is on Passett Park's property land.
Where?
It's on on Route 21 north of town at Grays Hill, basically.
So it's the Marine Corps Air Station you may have.
Marine Corps Air Station on one side, the old Harris Pillow Factory, which is on that property right now.
So, the reason you're picking 79 for that is 1779 is when that happened, not 1775, is that right?
2029 is when the 250th anniversary of when the battle happened, yes, sir.
That's all the questions I have.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for your opportunity.
I think that we've gotten through all the applications, correct? Yep.
And since VML's not here and we scheduled to do discussion next week, then I think that concludes everything.
Okay.
Other than lunch, which is on the way.
All right, do we need to move to adjourn or just adjourn or? Okay, we adjourn.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Rich, just, Rich.